Earth is very flat.
Whoops. What's going on? It's Friday night, May 14th, 2021. What's going on tonight? I said what's going on twice. This is Brandon, host of Brandon's Show. Hope everybody's doing good out there. It is a beautiful day here at the in Michigan, USA. Very beautiful. Summertime is coming, and my favorite time of the year. Anyway, you guys know what tonight is, Friday Night Fights. Should be interesting. Limited to very little moderation. And we'll let everybody go at each other. We'll see how that turns out. Should be a fun time. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's see who's in chat. NW Dude. Bill G. Sound is good. Thank you, sir. Gadget Inspector. Helen Degenerates. Yeah. The intro's getting changed real soon. I just don't have a new one yet, but it's in the works. Gadget Inspector. Hey, Gadget. Logan's Run. Nuts McGee. Hell in Degenerates. I get 2 shout outs. Champion the Underdog. Page 42. Dan Morris. Nick. Enigma. Oh, Bill. Page 42 was first tonight. Bill, your streak has ended. Oh, man. That's a bummer. Oh, well. You can start a new streak. End of one streak's the start of a new streak. We got some people in Discord, so without further ado, let's go.
Can anyone hear me? Friday night.
What's going on,
John
guys?
Bernard.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. We're
Is it Friday
live. Yes, it is Friday.
Fight night.
Fight night.
Seriously, is the best yellow fucking band in
John Bernard, you might not last long.
He's
But
here on the right
think
night.
about it. Think about it. Seriously, okay, it's a lot of a great band, but seriously was. Think about the guy. His mother lost him and everything. He lost his mother. He was fucking great. Hello, it's a fucking story.
Huh?
Yeah, and he has fucking all the beautiful women in the world in Germany and in America, all over the fucking place, you know.
Well, yeah. What?
So, hello, so,
Oh, John.
and
John.
he's playing like a god also.
Really?
Yeah,
He's playing a lot of golf.
god.
Okay. Well, who else we got in here? Brian Leakey. What's up, Brian? Car in Kentucky. Crit Enigma. Geo Jimbo. Rob on the level. Keen and Bob Dole. Where you been, Bob?
Are we talking about the Thin Lizzy? Have the people seen the Thin Lizzy? I was
Thin Lizzy? The band?
Yeah.
No, I guess I don't remember them.
So nobody understands what I'm talking about.
No, that's a true story there.
So
Who's a new idiot? Oh, sorry, John.
I'm not the idiot, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So, okay, Clary, you have to on your show. You have to show Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy.
So people understand.
You talking about the band, John? Thin Lizzy.
Yes.
Okay. I'll bring it up. Why not?
If you don't do it, nobody understands. So
Yeah, good point. Okay. Let's see how much this helps. There's Thin Lizzy.
shit.
I don't remember any of their hits. What did they sing? Oh, let's see here.
Oh, that is just hit. There's no Everything I've done is a fucking hit.
Everything they've done is a hit. Oh shit! No kidding, huh?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, it's an Irish thing. I see. Okay.
Oh, you didn't know about it?
Well, I mean, I've heard the name before, and I know the name. I listen to rock and roll my whole life. I probably know. There's Whiskey in the Jar. They sang the original one of that.
Yeah,
The Boys Are Back in
everything,
Town. That's a great
everything.
song.
Everything. Yes. Bicycle in town. Yes.
They played that song
Boys.
when I got back from Iraq. We had this big thing, and all the family was there. First time we saw them in months. And when we were walking in the door, the governor of Michigan was there. I got a funny story about that, and they played that song. The Boys Are Back in Town. It always pumps me up.
Boys are back in town.
Yeah.
Boys are back in town. Okay, but it's something behind it, and the sound. It's not about how they do it. It's the sound and everything.
Yeah.
Everything together. Nobody can do it. Nobody can do it.
Okay. This is your favorite band, John? John? No?
I am my favorite, but yes, maybe it can be.
I'm late.
Yeah.
I'm late. Don't worry, I'm here now, John.
I was wondering where you were, Jeremy.
I'm here now. I was buying coins.
I'll dox your pay this week.
But if you really ask me, yes, I think it's my fucking favorite band. Yes.
Okay.
If you really want to answer.
Anyway, so Thin Lizzy, yep, there's pretty cool. There's a tip from John. Go listen to Thin Lizzy. And what's going on with everybody else? Anything?
I think about the Earth is flat and be real and against yourself.
I want to bio-duel if you do a water.
Bio-duel what? What,
Sorry,
Rob?
I got a shit mic. I'll get a better mic in a few.
I had something I wanted to show later with RANTY.
Your mic sucks too right now, Brian.
That video again? Where? Yeah.
Are you driving in a car or something?
No, I'm not.
No, nobody can hear what you're saying. So.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we hear you. We hear you fine. We hear you fine, Brandon.
Oh shit. This is a good start, guys. Anyway, so what's going on?
Nothing is going on.
Is that any better, man?
Oh my god.
My mic?
Yes.
How's my mic now?
Better.
Thank you. Okay.
No, it's
So-
normal, yes.
No, hang on, John. Please.
Hey, thanks.
I just wanna ask BioDuel if he's had a chance to look into a water level yet.
Water level.
Oh yeah. I'm not interested in doing that.
Then what are you doing here? Okay. Then what are you doing here?
Is that a
Do you care about?
prerequisite?
No.
Yeah,
I'm just wondering. We're here for a debate, right?
Talking together.
Right.
Alright, John.
So I'm not an expert on all things, and not.
No,
all
I'm not
things.
at. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that'd be the simplest way to put it.
But the subject of flat Earth interests you for some reason.
Oh, the subject. Yes.
Yes.
The subject.
So to prove it one way or the other to yourself, if I gave you that chance, you're not interested.
No. What I'm saying is there are many.
No. Yes,
Oh.
there's one way to prove to yourself that water does not curve. There's one
Oh.
way to do that. You're not interested in that. So what are you doing here?
That's faulty logic because you're saying there's only one way to prove whether water curves over a great distance or not, depending on the shape of the Earth.
Oh, no,
So there's only
I'm saying
one way.
this is one way. This is one way.
Oh yeah, perfect. I have other ways. Thank you though.
Okay? How do you
Oh.
measure curvature then?
Can you present the other ways?
Are you implying that it's measuring curvature or observing the effects of curvature? Because that's how I would describe it.
Yeah, well, I'm actually looking for curvature of water. It's impossible. So,
The same thing that you're looking
All
for,
right.
too.
the same thing that you're looking for, measure of curvature, I'm looking for measure of flatness. So we're at an impasse, and I have ways to show effects of curvature.
but I just told you how to measure flat, and you won't want to look at it. So we're at an impasse. I'm sorry.
If you have measurements to provide, I'm all ears, and I would love to look over these measurements of flatness. I would love to look at what you present.
Is something wrong with you then? No, I'm just asking. It's not. It just looks right for me.
What does?
If you don't see the reality of what we have in the sky and on the wall we are going through, there is no, the sun is going over our head. Nothing is flying, and the Earth is stationary. That's my understanding.
Well, that's what I understand as well, and yet to see any evidence to the contrary. Although lots of people, including people on this panel, have come up with some pretty intricate systems.
Oh, so
convincing
it's a
people.
problem. So people are saying I have wrong. Is something
He
wrong
is
with
asking for
something?
measurements of a level. Is that what he is asking? The other guy?
Who, Biodual? I don't know what he's asking for.
I said
He said to show him measurements of flat water, I guess.
That's all we have, though, isn't it? All we have is
Yeah, a
measurements.
level does what it does, like 0 degrees
Yeah.
on water. Like, if you put it...
I'm back.
Like, literally, we don't have any measurements of the Earth that aren't flat.
But just take it like this. If you look out, and if you are working in the army, and if you have a radar that reaches 500 miles, and you're telling me and you're living on a small globe, it's not so much up. It's just a mathematics. If you don't understand that, then you are fucking stupid. We have 500 miles of Navy radar. Straight line. You know, straight line.
True story.
Chris, what's going on, man? What's the saga today?
So there's some new dude called WM. He joined a brand new account. Just right away, out of nowhere, just started shit talking me and somebody else, saying he new to the server. He knew. He never talked about this stuff ever before, right? I'm like, yeah, dude. I don't know what type of bullshit you think that's gonna fly, right? You just randomly join the server, and this is the first thing you say.
So
I know.
Do you think it's
I
somebody?
The owner of this
kind
channel is paid of the conversation. It's paid of because he talked it over Ranty, and Ranty's paid. He is paid also. He just playing something.
Can I ask the about
he
the
can
Glober
never do anything against me. If he does something against me, I fucking kill him.
Okay, John, you're getting muted for that one. Have a good night, buddy. Anyway, so do you think this guy who's starting shit is somebody who snuck back into the server, correct?
Yeah, because I said to him at one point, I said, I'm going to disengage. I'll talk to you in voice on fight night, me versus you. We can do question for question. Otherwise, it's a red flag, right? Because why wouldn't you join voice? You got a lot to say right now. Can't you say something later? And he's like, no, he won't be bullied or pressured into doing something. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude.
So,
You know?
so Grit, this is the only flat Earth proof that you have, right? Because this
No,
is
all you. This is all you need to know. Okay, you are not me. Okay, you do you.
Yeah,
I'll do me.
Yeah, but that's
There's
just,
no we.
that's
Okay.
the only globe proof you
Yeah, there's
have.
there's no we between you and me. Whatever we you can think of, throw it in the bin, and I'll give you a reason why there's no we there. If you can't simply follow that, I'm not going to think about what you say. I'm only going to figure out what type of special stupid you are.
Sure. So
this is based on a baseline set in February because of the endless spiraling triggering that you've been doing ever since, up to including today, this morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you figure that part out, let me know.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it will advance the baseline.
This is the only flat Earth proof you have. I mean, you still didn't answer the question. You went on a long rant that had nothing to do with this. So, is this the only globe proof? Sorry, flat Earth proof that you have?
Okay. Do I need to break it down for you again? Are you that stupid? So how about this? Maybe somebody else on the panel can let you know why you can't understand this. Should I just can someone just role play you and I'll go over it with them? And if they'll get it, that might be like the spark that allows you to crack out of your egg of stupid.
Yeah, go ahead.
So any volunteers?
Is this the only flat Earth evidence that you have?
No, bro, I don't want to be a Glober. Not even.
Yeah, not even to role play it.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking Grit, actually.
Yeah, this is all you need to know. The whole, everything, okay? You are you. You are not me.
Yep.
Even if you change your name to be my name, you're still you. You're not me.
Yeah, but that's
okay.
kind of apparent, isn't it?
You do you. Okay? And I will do me.
Isn't this
And after you figure those two out, there's no we at all between you and me. There's not one thing you can think of that will be a we that includes you and includes me. There's no we at all.
The normal pronoun in the English language.
Okay.
So there's nothing to worry about.
Until you figure this out, I don't think about what you say.
I mean,
I only try to figure out what type of special stupid you are because of the baseline that you set.
Go ahead.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
So this is, again, this is the only flat Earth proof that you have.
No, nothing there was mentioned about flat Earth. Again, this is the only thing you need to know.
You said quite clearly that this is the flat Earth proof.
That's all you need to know.
Right? Didn't
That's
you
it.
Just say that this is our flat Earth proof?
That's all you need to know.
Yep. Yeah, but
yeah, there's no more than that.
Remember, guys, from hate to love, there's only one step, okay?
Yeah.
Don't hate on each other too much.
Yeah, this guy has a serious problem.
Yeah.
This is a problem. This is a you problem, okay?
Hey,
there's no reason.
I know that you've been through some shit since I was targeted. I get that. This is when it all started, okay? And Lori, you know how everything went down over there. You were there. You saw some of it. But I do want to come to Lori's defense, and I can't believe it, right, guys? A tiny bit here. Because after that night that I spoke about everything that went down, he actually did the right thing, and most people won't, and apologize for how I was treated, and especially if he's ever done anything to offend me. So there is some hope here, people, that some of these guys are just here to muck around, and some actually give a shit. Now, Lori, you could have been joking and just trying to, reel me back in, but I'm at least giving you some credit. So maybe we can let go of some of this bullshit that's gone down, me being targeted, the Pinkertons, the bullshit, and start focusing on what's really important. The topics that we wanted to talk about and proving or not proving verification, right, of our reality. But at the end of the day, this personal bullshit and all this stuff, this spiraling stuff that we do all the time, this needs to be thrown out the window. Because actually, there are some Globers who will actually talk to us and not disrespect us. One, Professor Phil. I'll give him so much credit. That's why he's on my server, because he doesn't get personal and attack me in that way. You can call us Friday Fight Night, but at the end of the day, we shouldn't be fighting. This should be communication.
Wait, we
So
shouldn't be
I'm
fighting on
defending Rory
Friday
in a way
Night
because
Fight?
at least he had the decency to say that he was sorry.
Did you just say that? We shouldn't be fighting on Friday Night Fight?
No, I'm talking about in general. I mean,
Yep.
you don't get anywhere with things with communication if you have some compassion in the world. I can't go out here and speak truth and reach anybody in the streets. And I know people say this isn't the streets, but we all came from it. Unless you have some compassion. So we can sit here and fight between each other, but that's exactly what they want. Now, you can fight it out with love, too. Come on, let's get real here. How many fights have been through love? But at least, come on, have some respect for one another. That's all I'm saying.
I fully agree, actually, Stacy.
And thank you, Lori.
Well, yeah, we should be kind to each other. I agree.
Nah.
No?
Yeah, and
I mean,
starting
no.
with that is healthy boundaries. Once somebody has proven that they just don't have the ability to effectively communicate, you just set a boundary and say, hey, this is a no-fly zone.
Hey, we did get a super chat, $2 from Anamorphic Mind. He says, what color is Crit's Discord name?
More triggering, huh? But they love triggering over that color.
Yep, there it goes again.
They get
Why
all
is
worked
everyone
up over
concerned
text
with the
chat color.
You know what? These are the people that play video games and they buy they do the pay to play thing, but they buy stuff that makes their character look cool, like fancy hats and robes and stuff.
Or different colors.
I like the fancy hat, though, too. I'm just saying.
The other day, they were spiraling hardcore because 24/7 added a green room.
Let's add all the colors of the world, okay?
That what?
But I'm also not buying that bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm not buying that fancy hat. That was real money.
Yeah, there's like a side room that you can go to.
Yeah?
You can talk while other
Can y'all
people
hear
on the
me?
live stream. Yeah, and they were all worked up over that.
Oh, you're talking about 24, but they did a green
Yeah.
room now?
It was a
Okay.
green room.
Am I interrupted? Can y'all hear me? Because all I can hear is her.
Yeah, we can hear you. You don't hear Crit?
Oh yeah, I heard him earlier. Okay. But,
Can we please do a GoFundMe to get Leaky some AirPods or something, please? I mean, you sound good right now.
I've tried like 2 or 3 different ones, but man, I wanted to bring this up real quick, man. I gotta go for just a minute.
You just
But,
dismissed it, Brian. I mean,
I
yeah,
wanted to
go
bring
ahead,
something
Brian.
up real
Go
quick.
ahead.
I was trying to bring this up the other night, man. But so they say now, when we go up, they say, you know, the horizon really doesn't rise to eye level. It appears to. So they say in like an airplane, like the horizon starts dipping lower and lower the higher we get. Okay. Yeah, I mean the ballers pretty much dictates that, I guess. But it comes up visually even on both models. But I think they say, did anybody remember how many degrees he claimed the horizon dropped, Mr. Sensible, for his Mage balloon? Did he say like 4 degrees or something? Does anybody remember?
He said what?
I don't remember. They can kiss 4
The
degrees in
horizon,
my ass, though.
did Mr. Sensible say up at like 120,000 feet, or they said it in meters, like 35,000 meters, or the horizon dropped like a few percent? Does anybody remember? I mean, I know they said it dropped, but I don't remember how much it was. Can anybody recall like how much the horizon dropped? How much in an airplane, or even up higher than that?
We would expect to see the horizon drop on a flat Earth. Obviously, the floor is under you when you're going up. Of course, the horizon is going to drop.
Yeah, they got a big
but they mean
problem
the
though.
horizon, though. The horizon doesn't drop. It's just the visual effect.
Yeah,
visually.
So they got a big problem though. I was trying to explain this the other night. So what I thought of is, I mean, they say that with a theodolite, that you can measure the drop of the horizon, okay? And I'm not sure the exact percentages, but it's claimed. Okay, so they got a big problem. So if you're laying on your back at the North Pole, looking straight up at Polaris, okay? So you're laying on your back, looking straight up at Polaris, and then they say, you know, as you tilt around the ball, that you're changing angles to it. Okay, I'm okay with that, but it's like light years away, so it shouldn't change. You know, it shouldn't move according to anything but angle. So it's claimed that, like, when you get about 3 or 4 degrees latitude, even further than that, in some cases under the equator, that if you get high enough, you can see Polaris above the horizon. Now, that doesn't make sense, because it being light years away, you should get high enough to see it. The horizon would have to be straight out. And even if it was 1 degree, which is a little more than that, but you should not have to look down to see Polaris. If you see what I'm saying, does anybody follow my lead here?
Yeah, you're saying you shouldn't have to look down ever to see.
Yeah, in other words, if you're laying on your back at the North Pole and you're looking straight up at Polaris, okay, you can go anywhere for thousands of miles, okay, and Polaris is still gonna follow you. It's gonna be straight up. It's not gonna change angles, right?
Right.
Because it's light years away. Okay. Now, if we get to 45 degrees, then we see Polaris right at the horizon, 45 degrees, because we changed angle. Okay, so now we're angling. So when we're laying on our back at the North Pole, and then that puts us standing at the equator. That puts us on our feet, right? Equivalent to laying on your back at the North Pole would be the same as standing on
I
your
understand what you're saying now, Brian. Okay.
So if they say when you get beneath the equator, below and latitudes under the equator on their model, at higher elevations, they can see Polaris
Do you
over the
understand
horizon.
what he's saying, Brandon?
What's that?
Do you understand what he said?
No, not exactly.
He's saying that if you're laying on your back and then you move, let's say you are outside the ball and you move that person that is laying on their back, that is on the center of the ball, and then you take that person and then put it on the edge, you didn't move it at all or anything, is now it's gonna be standing on the side of the ball. There shouldn't be no reason, since the star is so far away, there shouldn't be no reason for it to go down. That's what he's saying, right, Brian? I understand you correctly.
It shouldn't be down toward the horizon. You see,
Yeah.
if it should not be down toward the horizon at the equator. If you didn't change your orientation from laying on your back at the North Pole, okay, it's straight up. So you take a picture of a man photoshopped in laying on his back at the North Pole. Polaris is dead ahead. Okay. Now, put that same guy is going to be on his feet at the equator. Okay. Now, Polaris should be straight in his eye path, straight in his eye line. Now, especially if you get like under the equator, raising elevation shouldn't matter. Okay, it would if you didn't have to look down toward the horizon, then it might not be such a big problem. But the higher you get, the more you look down at the horizon to see Polaris. That should not be the case, man. It should follow you.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Because it's so far away, it shouldn't change its position. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Right, it should never change angles to us anywhere. The only thing that's supposed to be changing angles is us on their model, right? And
how far away is it again? How far away is it again?
It's gajillion, zigadillion.
400.
Brian, the reason why the angle changes is because of the surface that you're on. So you're right. If you draw a picture and you have the two people with the same orientation, but one's laying on their back at the North Pole and they're standing on the equator with their feet standing straight up, they're looking.
So we need to look into that a little bit further. And
they're looking in the same exact direction.
The
angle that changes is
on degrees, and it gets even worse. Okay, because if they try to use refraction, now
Brian, did you want to maybe let him finish his sentence?
Oh, I didn't hear him, dude. Who was talking?
Biodual.
Oh, me? Can you hear me?
I must have mute. I'm very sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It
Random.
It was a wise decision on your part, but yeah.
Random.
Yeah.
Can you check what I'm the paint that I'm doing so that maybe oh shit.
Yeah. Let me
Alright.
So people know what he's talking about, right?
Good idea.
What we
Thank you, Silent, for bringing up the visuals.
Yes. Thank you for
Better
doing my
even
job.
worse.
I much appreciate it. Silent Zero. Thank you.
Yeah, let's say this person is right here on top of the air, right? And is watching directly at the star. So if you grab this person and you put it here, like there's no reason why you should like if it's so far away, you still see it. You see what he's saying?
Well, I think they'll try to tell you that when you're looking at Polaris from the equator, that's 90 degrees. That's what they tell the Polaris will be 90 degrees from you. That's what they'll say. So
Is it 90 degrees down here? This is 45, right?
No, it'd be 90 if you're draw a line through it to show the celestial pole.
I understand that, but the thing is 90 degrees,
All right.
okay?
All
So
right.
that sits it on the horizon, man.
That was it.
But they as you go higher, okay? When you go higher, you could see Polaris on the horizon. That's a problem when they say the horizon dips down. The horizon drops down the higher they get. That's a problem with Polaris.
It's not a problem, Brian. Have two people stand on the spherical Earth in the same way, but move their head. So if you're standing on the equator with your feet, stand on the North Pole with your feet, your head has to change angles to see Polaris. So on the equator, you're looking straight ahead. You're a normal human being. On the North Pole, you have to crank your neck 90 degrees to see it. That's where it comes into play.
Do we have any pictures of Polaris at 90 degrees? I'm just curious.
Yeah, but his point is, well, that we don't have, Jeremy. But his point is that if it's
That's weird.
really that far away, that shouldn't be the case, though.
No, it should be because you're changing on the surface of the Earth. The reason why
it shouldn't be, bro.
The reason why his logic falls apart is that you're not comparing two people in the same orientation. One is
You
on
saw
their
the
back.
drawing that I did?
One is on their back on the surface. One is
Yeah,
on their
did you
feet
saw
on
the
the
drawing,
surface.
bro?
Those are different.
Did you saw the drawing that I did?
No. I can perfectly imagine. someone-
You should have looked at the picture. No, I don't think you looked at the picture because they are orientated the same
I
way.
could draw.
Biodual.
They're oriented the
I bet
same
I
way.
can
Oh,
draw.
Biodual, look at the picture on the screen. Put it back on screen.
Oh, me? Damn, I got to do it all over.
Before he puts it on, let me
does-
describe it. I'll describe it. Someone's at the North Pole, laying on their back. So
Laying
what
on their
he's gonna
back.
draw is a circle, and then a person laying on the top of it, looking up.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
he's going to draw that same person, same orientation on the left,
Yep.
probably the left or the right side.
Sure.
With the
Yep.
feet on the surface of that circle, looking
Yep.
straight up.
Yep.
Yeah. So
They are
I understand
orientated
what's
the
going
same
on.
way. Yep. Okay. Then perfect.
But that's what
Then
I'm
why
talking
don't
about.
you understand? Yeah. Why?
The orientation is different because their feet are not oriented the same on the surface. And that's why I'm talking about when you put the feet on the surface.
Yeah, but they're
one
looking
person's
at the
gonna
same star.
I know. One person's going to have to crank their neck 90 degrees to look straight up, and the other person, with their feet on the same ground, is going to look straight and see it.
How far away is that star again?
I don't know, a bunch of light years.
400, 300
Are you
light
sure
years,
about
give or
that?
take.
You sure
Give or
about
take
that?
100
You
light
could-
years.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm
Thanks.
explaining the
Thanks.
principle.
There-
That's all.
Appreciate that.
I posted again so that you can see how. Now I'm gonna.
They're
draw
just
even
guessing.
a-
They don't know how far.
I'm gonna draw a little head on the guy and some legs. Right. There it is.
Right, and probably good to copy paste it and then just move it to the left,
No, I'm not
left
gonna
side.
copy
Yeah.
paste it. I'm just
Well,
gonna-
Polaris is as far
gonna
away as
grab
they
this
needed
guy
it to
who is
fit their
laying on his
mathematical
back.
model.
He's
That's
laying
all.
on his back, watching at the star, and then you're gonna grab him and position him right here. Nothing.
Right,
changed.
exactly as I described. I
Yeah,
understand what's
nothing
going on.
changed. What do you think is changing?
That's what I'm talking about. Is that you have to orient it in the same way with respect to their feet on the ground.
Yeah, but you said they were oriented different.
Yes, in the way that they're oriented in respect to the surface of the Earth, yes, they are oriented different. One is on their back, one is on their feet. Yes.
Yeah, but no, his example is that's precisely what he's saying. That
No, I understand what you're saying. That's why I'm saying it's faulty.
hold on.
That's,
If you lay on your back, you get to the North Pole and you lay on your back. Boom, there you go. You're not looking up or anything. You're looking straight, right? Now, when you are at this position right here, you're in exactly the same way as here. It makes no sense. And
in
probably
free space,
this
correct.
is the small distance, right? Compared
in free space, you are correct. Yes, but in respect to the surface of the ground, it is not. No.
Explain.
I did put his feet. Put the guy. Rotate him to the right 90 degrees and put his feet on the ground at the North Pole. Now his head is going to have to crank 90 degrees to look up. Now,
but I don't like that position, so what I'm gonna do
well,
is...
you don't like it. That's not my
no,
problem.
hold on. So because I get my neck gets tired, right? So I'm gonna lay on the grass. Boom. There, that's more comfortable. Damn, look at those
Okay,
damn
beautiful.
stars. Look
Beautiful.
at the North Pole.
Do it that
Beautiful.
way. That's fine.
All
We
right.
can do it that way. So his back is on the surface. Now put him at the equator with his back on the surface.
Why would
Bio, do you actually have any evidence that anyone's ever been? Hold on. Do we have any pictures or video from anyone having Polaris 90 degrees from them, or?
I'm pretty sure I answered your question yesterday. Do you remember what my answer was?
I don't remember asking this yesterday.
Well, you did. And what did I say?
Who knows? I didn't even remember asking it.
Perfect. So what I said was, I don't think so. I don't think that I could provide that evidence to you.
Oh. All right.
But again, if it feels better for your back to be on the surface, let him be on his back on the surface at the North Pole. Now put his back on the surface at the equator. You're going to notice that his head is going to have to do different things to be able to see the same star in the same location. Of course.
Yeah. What does that prove, or what? What is your point?
My point is
Yeah,
that
you
you're
can be
have
backwards. Like you can be facing. Like, you can be like this, facing on the ground.
Just keep it consistent.
And you
Whatever.
gotta turn your whole head around. What does that bring to the conversation?
It brings to the conversation that you're going to have to angularly change your vision to see it at different latitudes. That's what it says.
But that's not what we're doing here.
No, I know you're using faulty logic to try to.
It's not faulty
to
logic.
come to a particular conclusion.
If this thing is really far away, this makes total sense.
But you're not.
Hey, let me ask him a question real quick.
Same in respect to the surface of the Earth.
So look, so if I'm on the equator
Brian,
and I'm looking at
you've got that echo really bad. Sorry.
But if I'm at the equator and I'm looking at Polaris on the ground, I start rising up. Is Polaris going to follow me up?
It'll probably change its angular deviation from the horizon. Yeah.
So they've worked it out. It's a mathematical model. They understand the relationship between how you see something, how far away you see a star, and how much it drops within your vision, the optics.
It's all reverse engineer, right? Like you cannot go wrong with that.
Yeah.
If you see the patterns over and over, then you do measurements of those patterns. Like how can you go wrong? You can invent any story based on those numbers, and it's never.
Well,
It's never gonna be wrong because the patterns are gonna keep going over and over. So like, I'm gonna tell you that a unicorn is farting every night. It takes a fart or a shit, and it makes this light move that way, and we can measure it and then predict it for next day and next year and everything. How are you gonna disprove that?
Yeah, they have a model of how the sky works built on top of a model. It's just reification fallacy on top of reification. They're fallacious in almost everything they say. Any argument.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? How you doing?
What up, Don?
Hey, Don, where you stand these days on the shape of the Earth? You've been around for a while now.
Well, light bulb Earth at best. I mean, they're shaping it up pretty good. But what to the point you just made about like the unicorn farts, right? Listen to this. Listen to this. So they're gonna come at you and be like, yeah, but we could test for unicorn farts and we can test for our model. And then every time they keep testing, though, it's another story. It keeps breaking. Every time it doesn't fit this Einsteinian space
That was
time
just an
shit.
example, right? Obviously, if
Yeah.
you're gonna
No, I'm
make
with you.
something up like that, you're not gonna say unicorn farce. You're gonna say something more credible, right?
No, I'm mostly agreeing
Like
with you,
Bigfoot.
but
It's just for a quick. That's just for a quick like.
Yeah, use Bigfoot or Loch Ness maybe next time. Way more credible.
Yeah. So I'm just saying for a fast idea of what you can do with reverse engineer of
No,
pattern.
I'm not joking. Use
can do
use
pretty much.
Bigfoot or Loch Ness next time because there's evidence for both of those things. Because they will immediately say we have evidence for our thing, and then you bring up Bigfoot and Loch Ness and say, well, I got some evidence too right here. So now where are we?
Oh, got you. All right, Jeremy.
You know, there's a lot of Bigfoot evidence. There's a lot of Loch Ness evidence.
hey, can I ask you a question, Brandon?
Yeah, of course.
Because I've been thinking for a minute since you've been on this platform here. I remember like last year in like Oakley server or whatever, weren't you like, and I don't mean this in any way, but weren't you like doing where you told everyone you thought it was a globe, but then you pretend sometimes to be flat Earth? Or
That was
maybe I got it wrong?
Babs, bro. That was
No,
Babs,
man,
I think.
That wasn't me. I've always been flat earther ever since I've been active.
Babs used to bring Glober arguments to Oakley because I used to think Babs was a Glober at first because I would hear him on Oakley's.
Yes.
You know, Space Pope. I would hear him talking about making globe arguments. I'm like, oh, this guy's a Glober. But then I hear him in Gems, and it's like, well, he's definitely not a Glober. I don't know. I didn't know what he was at first.
Well, me and Brandon
He's 100% globe indoctrinated.
I remember we'd be on the same page, and then people would like needle us at the same time, and then I just don't remember how your position was settled. But
he's trying to present adversity to learn more. That's what.
No,
it is.
he's not. He's a troll. No offense, Babs. I love Babs. So I want to tell you, Don. You know, no offense, but I remember when you first started coming around. And sometimes I listen to you in Gems, and I'm like, this motherfucker, get off the fucking fence, dude. Don't you have splinters in your ass from riding the fence?
Yeah.
You know?
No, but you remember when I came into Nathan Oakley's first though, and I used to fucking battle with Zanuck all the time, right? And I mean, there's just got to be a map though, man. Like, I'm just surprised by now, like, and don't get me wrong,
You motherfuckers haven't looked into a water level and an auto level.
The globe is it? They really haven't put much new stuff on the table. Like, they're not putting the map in people's face that much either. They're just like, we trust it. It's probably trusted. It's trusted, you know. And they were giving Jeremy a lot of props for wanting to do this demonstration.
The map is not the terrain.
Well, is it not? But okay.
The map is not the terrain.
Oh, I agree. An accurate map would be accurate to the terrain.
And those maps do exist.
And it will be flat with mountains. That's what it will be. And dips and lakes and.
Is the surface of a sphere 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional?
The surface, 2.
What's the surface of Earth? Is the surface of Earth 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional?
The surface of Earth, because it's a sphere, it's still 2-dimensional.
And what is elevation?
What the fuck?
The surface of a sphere on
Right, if you're going
paper
to add
is
elevation,
but
if you're going to add
You said
elevation,
two wrong
then
things
yes,
back to
there
back,
are 3
Bio.
dimensions.
You said two wrong things back to back, bro.
Right, still the surface of a sphere is 2-dimensional. And if you're going to add elevation, add
that's
an
wrong.
axis, then there
That's
are
wrong.
3 dimensions.
Is my mic slow?
No, he's ignoring
Not
you.
in reality.
He's acting like he's saying something that.
Oh,
makes
what did you say, Jeremy? I don't want to be
I said
accused of
you
ignoring
said-
or dodging. So what?
You said two wrong things back to back. The surface of Earth is not 2-dimensional. That's ridiculous. And the surface of a sphere is not two-dimensional. That's also as equally as not quite as ridiculous as the surface of Earth being two-dimensional, but
No, the
still
way we
ridiculous.
experience the surface of the Earth is three-dimensional. That's fine. But if we're going to do math for the surface of the of Earth, then it's two-dimensional because it's just the surface.
So your math, this is where you guys fuck up by trying to think your math is reality. Math is reality, Reds.
Yeah, just ask Biodual. Oh, fuck, I thought you were a smart guy, bro.
Nah, he knows to bring it
These
to
are great
reality.
arguments.
Need the third dimension.
Can you put the surface of a sphere on a 2D plane?
You can, but it's going to be distorted.
So then you will no longer have the surface of a sphere if you distort it.
Well, it's
So
still
no,
going to be
you
the
can't.
surface of a.
It's
going
a
to be
non-developable
It's
surface.
going to
and you
be
can't do it.
It's going to be the surface of a sphere distorted on a two-dimensional plane. That's what it'll be.
No, it will be the surface of something else because you've now distorted it.
Right, but it's still a representation of a two-dimensional, or the surface of a sphere on a two-dimensional plane.
Yeah, a representation, but not the surface of it.
It won't be one-to-one. It won't be pretty.
It's a non-developable. Do you know what a non-developable surface is, Bio?
Yes, that you can't convert the shape. You can't convert it to a two-dimensional plane without distortion.
Exactly.
Right. So you're.
So
yeah, which side are you support?
Distort it. You no longer have a sphere.
So you're saying, are you trying to make the argument or trying to convince someone
Anyways,
that
I don't wanna
when
bore
you take the
people with
surface
the
of a
math.
sphere and put it in a 2D
Yeah.
plane, that's not a sphere anymore? Of course, I would agree with that.
But you're dead wrong on both accounts.
Right. I think you were halfway presenting globe Earth arguments when you were stating all those things.
No, absolutely not. You're just wrong on both accounts. First of all, surface of Earth is 3D, not 2D. Second of all, you can't put a 2D or you can't put a surface of a sphere into a 2D plane because you would have to distort it, bend it, cut it infinitely, and
correct. You would distort it,
it,
which is what we have.
But with all due respect, what maps is this in reference to, though? Right? Like, what is this really relevant for?
Oh, I don't know. I was just going off what somebody else said.
Distorted map that they're trying to say.
A water level creates a two-dimensional plane of reference.
Right. You have a one-dimensional argument, so we're going to continue with these maps. Yes. So Don, it's going to be big distance or big scale maps. So big scale maps, when you change in latitude, the scale of those distances are going to change due to the distortion of a spherical Earth being represented on a 2D plane. So that's what it's going to be. On a very small scale, it works. That's fine. You're not going to have enough distortion to fuck anything up. But on a big scale, it's going to fuck up as you move in latitude. Sorry.
Right. If you're saying if you were going to project onto like a 2D.
Well, you could do it in a number of ways. You could do it in a number of ways, but I think right now what's agreed upon is the minimal distortion at the equator, maximum distortion at the poles.
Right.
But you could do it a number of different ways. You can have minimal distortion at the poles and maximum distortion at the equator, and it still works. It'll just obviously look funny because you're putting the distortions in a different place.
You know what looks funny is the fact that they said Earth is pear-shaped, because why would it get more distorted at the bottom? Wouldn't it get distorted on the top and bottom evenly from all that spinning for billions and zillions of years? You know why they made it pear-shaped, fatter at the bottom? Because it's a flat Earth and there's more land at the bottom, and they had to figure out how to hide it some way. And if anyone ever saw an discrepancy, they just say, "Oh yeah, it's pear-shaped a little fatter at the bottom." Just like
there's
it would
more
be on
land in
flat
the
Earth.
northern.
What bottom, Jeremy? Come on.
It's
The
nice to have
under-
Rodney be
under
here.
the
I just like to
earth,
say we got a real surveyor here.
Hey, Rodney, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys?
You ain't been around in a while. What have you been up to? Working. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on a few days ago. I think it was the average.
Oh shoot, your mic's pretty bad right now.
Yeah, sorry, guys, I'm driving.
It's all right.
I'll go back on you.
Okay. Anyway,
That guy was a real surveyor?
Rodney, yeah, I think he works in the industry. I think he's a surveyor.
How long has he been a flat earther for?
I don't know. Long time.
Longer than I was. Yeah, I've been a surveyor for about 3 years.
Yeah, we
5 years.
we
Okay.
can't hear you. No, that's all right.
Flat Earth surveyors. What's going to be next? Flat Earth astronauts.
Well, they're all
we
flat
already got
earthers.
one of those.
All the astronauts are flat
We already
earthers.
got one of those. Yeah. Don Pettit's our best guy.
Yep, working from the inside to make NASA look even stupider. Awesome. Couldn't ask for a better ally. Or the
I gotta tell you what,
the guy
real-
that dropped the screw in space, or the dude who gave us the video of the satellites falling into clouds. Those guys are pretty cool.
Yo, real quick, whoever likes the rockets can't work in a vacuum argument, QE just put out a dope video on it. You might want to check that out.
Cool. I'll check that out. Is he support the argument, them working in a vacuum, or does he think they don't work in a vacuum?
I just want. I know that.
I asked a question.
Hang on one sec.
He kills the rockets working in a vacuum idea. Absolutely.
Can I ask a question about rockets in a vacuum? You remember those pump rockets?
I was trying to get in there.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Hold on, Don.
I just wanted to ask Rodney B a question about the water level.
He can't talk.
Is it more or less accurate than an auto level?
He can't really talk because his mic.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if it's more or less accurate than an auto level.
I don't know. No idea.
BioDuel, you should check into that one.
I know. Once you get off your one-dimensional argument, then we could probably have a conversation. I don't know why you keep going.
I'm all about
when I've been
three
clear
dimensions.
about my explanation.
All about 3 dimensions, bro. We live in the 3-dimensional world.
I know, but
Yeah,
apparently you're not
you're-
listening to me.
Yeah,
You're the one that thinks we live on a 2D.
You think you live on a globe and you don't want proof of flat water.
I have plenty of proof.
Hourglass.
I have plenty of evidences and real-world experience to let me know what the shape of the Earth is.
Your evidence sucks ass. I got evidence.
In
of
your
Bigfoot
opinion,
Loch
I
Ness.
agree.
All of your
I got
evidence
of Bigfoot.
for a globe starts with the presupposition that you are on a globe.
So that'll be false, but that's fine. I understand your position.
No, every time we dig into
that's
it, it
not
does
fallacious.
go back there.
Give me one
me an
proof
argument
that does
that's
not
not
presuppose that you're on a globe.
It's
Just
more
one?
like they presuppose this
Just
is
one.
the exact way the globe would manifest, not that they're on it. But they do.
I'll tell you what, Bio.
suppose
Give me
the
one
exact-
argument that's not fallacious. Hold on, Bio. Give me one argument that's not fallacious.
The fact that we have 2 celestial poles, I think, would be fine. That doesn't necessarily denote a sphere, but it would be a 3-dimensional object rather than a flat plane.
So you have a
it is-
reification. All right, you have a reification fallacy going of how the sky works. Boom.
Wasn't sure if we were in a
fallacy, bitch.
formal debate here. My apologies.
I told you, give me an argument without a fallacy, and you gave me an argument with a fallacy.
You don't get to dictate what I get to present to you. Can you
Do you have
provide
an
me
argument
a
without a
measurement
fallacy?
Can you
Do you have an
present me
argument without a
measurement of
fallacy?
flatness?
Just one. Just give me one argument
No,
without a fallacy.
that's the best one. That's the best one. 2 celestial poles that have
it's
opposite
fallacious.
rotations. They have opposite rotations that cannot exist on a flat plane, and it is evidence for a spherical Earth.
Because you have a reification fallacy of how the sky works. Like I said, fallacious.
Yeah, fallacious. 2 stars or 2 lights in the sky doing things.
You can't give me a fucking argument without using
Every
a fallacy.
globe proof starts with the presupposition that you're already on a globe. Thank
So
you,
Jeremy,
BioDuel.
Jeremy, you can rhetorically battle. That's fine, and never address the content. But again, you will not be addressing the content.
I'll address it.
Give me an argument
I'll
without a
address it right
fallacy,
here.
and maybe
How
I'll
about
address
this?
it.
You can get you a bucket of water and some pepper, sprinkle it on top, and take a positive and a negative plate, and put them on either end, and you'll get 2 rotations in a flat bucket of water. What are you talking about? You can't have 2 rotations on a flat Earth. What does
You
that
know
mean?
what they
Dude,
mean?
just give me a-
The way they supposedly reconcile from different locations around them. I mean, you guys got to steelman their position.
Oh, I could
Well, they
I
have
could
to
tear that
understand
argument
first,
up.
then they can.
I could tear that star rotation argument up in my sleep. The point is, I just like to see one argument that doesn't have a fallacy attached.
Well, you think it's a fallacy. That doesn't mean that.
If you have a reification fallacy of how the sky works.
What
does
it mean?
It's
You
evidence
just said this
for
can't happen. You just
it's
said
evidence
this
for a
can't happen
particular
on a
shape.
flat Earth.
And it's evidence against a particular shape. That's what it is.
you know how the sky works then.
No, it's a presupposition that you're on a globe.
You just
Yeah.
said, you just said the stars are rotating in opposite
it's an
directions, bro. But they're
exclusivity.
all moving. Hold on.
They got a model of
Sure,
how.
go ahead.
He said they're all moving in. They're moving in opposite directions. They're not. They're both moving the
Moving
same
east, west.
direction. You're just changing. You
Yeah.
gotta. If you change directions, they appear to. They're all moving from east to west. Why would you even say
Right.
that?
baby.
You're gonna have to look in a different direction to see them both. Oh shit. So what if we're on a flat plane? The only direction that you'd be looking is up, and then how do you get
What are
two
you talking
different
about? They're
rotations?
moving in.
Let me
They're
ask
moving
you.
the same direction, bro, east to west.
If you're aiming your eyes at the north and then you turn 180, you're aiming at the south.
Boom. Exactly. You're right.
Isn't that you're looking in two different directions right there, buddy?
Right. Two different directions. How many
and
different directions are there on the flat
and
Earth when you look
same
at the sky?
Listen, buddy. The same rotation.
I think there's
It will
three. I
look-
think there's 3-star rotations.
The
man.
same
Here's
look.
why.
The same rotation.
Well, there it
will
is.
look-
Yeah.
The same rotation. It will look different just by you turning 180. It's really simple to understand.
Yeah, but when you look at the star trails at the equator,
You guys are
you can
just
measure.
Well, the ballers are
I put out a
stupid.
couple videos. You can measure the separation.
Shout out to you,
deviation.
who?
Not a lot, but it's there. You can measure the deviation at the equator.
Can you
that
draw it
means
for us
they're-
here,
that means that means they're actually separating.
So in the meantime, do you have a globe argument without a fallacy attached, or?
Yeah.
Yes. There's plenty, but your arbitrary.
Let's hear one. I
arbitrary
asked for one
reasons
earlier, and you gave
don't
me a
apply here.
fallacy with it.
Well, in your
Let's
opinion,
hear one.
but you didn't explain why.
You have a model of how the sky works. You're presupposing how the sky works, begging the question, and it's fallacious.
Oh, I'm not. So I'm making an observation.
Yeah,
Why
you
have
said
you-
this can't happen. You said this can't happen on a
Right.
flat Earth because we
Right.
know how the sky works.
No, not at all.
Why do you
So you
present
don't
the
know how the sky.
exclusivity
So then, if you don't know how
It's
the
not
sky works, that
required.
could,
It's
if
not
you don't know how
required
the
to know how the
works,
sky
then that
works,
could-
Jeremy.
then it can work on a flat Earth.
No, it can't, because as soon as you try to demonstrate this, it breaks down.
Fallacy,
Okay,
fallacy,
but that's
fallacy.
what I mean.
Right,
just
and that's
because-
your rebuttal. Just calling the word fallacy and not explaining it.
Because it's fallacious. You're
Why does it break down?
presupposing how the sky works, and you can't prove it.
Did I explain how the sky works, or do we observe two celestial poles and that can only work on a particular shape?
If the sky works the way you guys
That's
say it does.
bullshit.
Yes. If the sky works the way you guys say it does, then yes, it can only work on a globe.
I
If the
just
sky
demonstrated
doesn't
it,
work,
man.
if the
We-
sky
they
doesn't
got-
work like you
Go
say,
ahead.
if the sky doesn't work like you say it does, then it could happen on a flat Earth.
How does the sky work?
I don't know. They're the fallacious motherfuckers that keep telling us how the
Can
sky
this
works.
guy tell us how the sky works,
I
please?
just told that guy how to demonstrate it. Everything they can't demonstrate, we always demonstrate. I just told him you put pepper in a bucket,
Brian.
a bucket of water, put a positive and a negative plate, and you'll get two opposite rotations, bro. We can demonstrate all this shit. Y'all can't demonstrate nothing.
What the hell?
How does magnetism come into play with the observations that we make in reality?
Well,
The demonstration, bro, on a flat surface.
But you
I'm
can't
sure
connect it, right?
violated- Right. How did they?
You guys still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're here.
That was the longest
I'm just
dinner. Are we
blanked out,
waiting for
man,
someone to
time.
answer or something?
No, my Discord was going nuts for a second or
Was it?
something.
I thought I muted people again. I want to apologize, man. I had like 3 or 4 people muted. I went down the whole list, and I'm like, oh my god. I wonder how long it's been like this.
Somebody's
Sometimes
camera
interrupt
came
people.
on and I lost my sound.
Yeah, I think that was like Kiefer or something. But yeah, there was a bunch of beeping and people leaving and joining.
Yeah, my bad.
All right.
I was hoping Rodney B was back so I could get him to answer my question.
Something happened.
You know Rodney
Yeah,
B's
but
a flat
everything,
earther, right, Rob?
everything they say, that guy had.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask him that question.
Oh, okay.
We asked them to demonstrate like tides. Use a magnet. Use anything. Show us. Use something with pull. and put metal flakes in it. Do anything. Show us how tides work on a ball. They can't do it. We show them how it works on a flat Earth. How the
well, tides don't even match. Tides don't even match the model of what they say how it works.
That was only I just led with that. We showed them how we get a gas pressure gradient inside containment. Made a video on that. We show how ignition, the propane can be blasting out of the tank. When you light it, you don't get no more thrust out of it just because it ignites. I mean,
if tides work the way,
I don't even know where to start.
If tides work the way they say they did, with the sun and the moon's gravity pulling all the water on Earth, which is fucking ridiculous, but if it did work like that, you'd see the biggest tide deviation happen in between the tropics. Because that's where,
refraction.
And then we see the opposite of that. We see the lowest tide.
List, Jeremy. I was pretty much making a long list, and then we could go through them. But man, like refraction, we've had people show refraction on warehouse floors and in their house even, and we've and how about like obstruction, mirages, all this stuff. We demonstrate all this stuff, and they demonstrate nothing. That guy had the audacity to say that we don't demonstrate nothing. That's my argument
true.
for them. They demonstrate nothing.
We have all the demonstrations, the science, everything. We're that's why we're winning this debate, and they're losing.
Say, Jimmy, all the
the facts, the figures. I mean, we are we're bringing it to them, and they're hurting. Tell them, Chemo. Is Chemo here?
Chris is trying to chime in.
You know what? You're right, though, Jeremy. Their bosses probably are in the background going, "You guys are really getting your ass kicked." You know?
Yeah, you guys better come up with something good.
Laying some
Well,
people
it's a good
off and
point.
shit.
It's a good point because that happens all the time. How many times have you heard a Glober say, "Well, this is impossible on a flat Earth," and then one of us goes and demonstrates that it's not? Like I personally did. They said, "Oh, it's impossible to have shadow underneath the cloud with the sun above." Well, no, I did it multiple times. So every time they say it's impossible, it is a logical fallacy. And not only that, not a single one of them has tried to debunk their own claim before they make the claim. And none of them go and do their own test to say, or is it actually impossible to have a shadow under the cloud, blah, 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 or is it actually impossible for the stars to work this way? None of them ever do it themselves. Pathetic.
I have a
Shout out to
challenge
Chris
for you.
Mary, man. He also did, Chris, you did that video showing how the parallax doesn't work like they claim it on a globe with the turning camera. That was awesome.
Yes,
Hey,
I have a
Chris, what was
challenge
that
for
called
you.
again?
I'm asking Chris a question.
Go ahead, Chike. Hit us with your
ask
best
him.
shot.
I have a challenge for him. He's ready.
Oh boy.
And you can choose.
Yeah, we're ready. We're
to
ready.
tell me
What's
where
your challenge, bro? We're always ready. We're flat earthers.
my fallacy.
Here comes another challenge for us to have to go out and do all the work for them.
No,
Yeah.
don't need to go out. Not at all. You can do it at home. So, on flat Earth, on flat surface, things below a certain line that is parallel to the surface will never appear above things that are above that line. Now,
Say that again. Say it again.
Above a flat surface, things
on a
that
flat
are
surface.
on a flat surface, things that are below a parallel line, that is parallel to
And
the
what
surface,
line? Wait, what line?
parallel.
A parallel line.
Oh, all right. Parallel to what?
Okay.
The flat surface?
To the surface, yes.
Okay.
Things below that line will never appear above that line.
Oh, we've already shown this. We've already shown this. Are you high right now, Chike?
No, you haven't.
Let me
Things
point
that
something
are
out.
below the line that is parallel to the surface will not show above things that are above that line.
What about if they're
You can show me
refracted?
it's a fallacy,
What if they're refracted?
or you can show me I'm wrong.
We've already shown this.
What if they're
I
refracted?
can explain to you that you're wrong. You know how you measure
What
angular
is?
resolution, and then
What is
you
really?
measure it from the top to the bottom. But then
Your
here's
challenge
the problem.
sucks, bro.
When something gets to the horizon, and you're trying to measure angular resolution, it doesn't shrink from the bottom no more. It's shrinking only from the top. So you're comparing it to things that are higher. They're shrinking from the top and the bottom.
Did you hear what I
The
said?
top is only shrinking from the
Right.
top.
Chike,
Did you
we've
hear my
already
challenge?
shown this. We've already
Who
shown
showed
this,
it?
man.
Remind me. I don't recall.
sky free, pebbles in the pond. It's been shown over and over again.
Things below a line that is parallel to the surface will not show above things that are above that line. Who
Oh, like
showed it?
black. Are you talking about like Blackpool?
Uh-huh.
Blackpool. Oh, we can make that happen. No doubt. We
Go
got you.
ahead.
Give us a little
Go
time.
ahead. Be my
I got a
guest.
demo.
Yeah, we
I
got
got
you.
a video to put
We
out.
got
It's
you,
showing
bro.
Renty scale is all wrong. Renty scale
All
is all wrong.
Sky Free has to do is put something in the foreground, and it'll make their city look like just like the mountains that Blackpool does, or Pebbles, or anyone. All anyone's got to do is put something in the foreground, and it'll match up with Blackpool perfectly.
No,
That's a terrible
needs to be-
challenge. You're gonna
Needs
lose
to
this
be
one, Chike.
below that line.
Yeah, you're gonna lose, bro.
Something needs to be above that line.
I hear you. We know. We
and
understand.
then that something needs to be
Yeah, we got it.
above that line.
We got you, bro. Just like You want to see Blackpool that
No mirrors.
recreated?
No mirrors. Without mirrors.
Yeah, you want to see Blackpool recreated, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we got you. It's easy peasy.
We had
Easy peasy. We'll get right on that.
So what's next after this, too? Once we do that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's constant.
well,
Oops.
you know how you say first let's cross the bridge, then we'll see what's after. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, we've crossed about 1,000 fucking bridges, dude.
No, you haven't crossed one.
Shut up. Like Chris was just saying, how many of these fucking things has he done and everyone else does? But now this is the first bridge. What is this?
What
Restart?
Chris done? What Chris done? So,
Fresh
so that
restart.
light reflects from the floor? Is that what he done?
All right, fresh restart. Okay.
No, I like to say, man, they compare obstruction. Yeah, so we see obstruction sometimes. But we never see curvature. Look, when you get up 150,000 feet in the air and you see 1,000 miles, there should be about 8. It's actually like
You know what?
18 degrees.
Hold on, Brian.
Degrees of the ground curving away from you in the distance. And
Brian,
that's like
hold on
about
a second.
60,000. That's 60,000. Go ahead.
Call Chike. We need to get our peoples on this, Brandon, and recreate Blackpool so we can fucking ram this right down their throats. Because that's not a difficult thing to recreate. All Pebbles or Sky Free's got to. All Pebbles or Sky Free has to do is put something in the foreground.
No, but
and it'll look
people
just
have
like
been trying
Blackpool.
to do it. They've been trying to use the same scale, and they are able to, or they're not able to reproduce it on the flat surface.
You feel me, Brandon? All Pebbles or Sky Free's got to do is put something in the foreground, and we'll have a Blackpool right recreation right there.
That shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, that's easy.
You have to use the same scale.
We should
People
do
have
that.
been doing
Like we should get right on that because the sooner the better.
Jimmy, it's easy to say everything. You can't get 2 people to make your observation. You can't get 1 pair.
We're gonna do this in our house in the living room, Chike, or in Pebbles
Jeremy,
warehouse.
people have been doing it. People have been doing it. I think Rachie tried to do it. She's pretty close, and I think she's still working on it. And then a couple other people have been doing it. But the scaling matters.
They're using perspective alone. That's what the issue is. We need to have Pebbles or
scales.
We need to have Pebbles and Sky Free on this because they can definitely make that happen easily. Like, no question. This isn't even a tough one right here. This is
right.
Simple.
It's not that difficult. You just have to get the scaling right. That's all.
Yeah, this is easy.
Right, and the people who account
Sky
for the
Free or-
scaling, the people who account for the scaling doing it on a flat surface are not coming to they're not making the same observation as Blackpool picked the tower.
All Sky Free or Pebbles has to do is put something in the foreground, and boom, they got it.
Again, but they have to account for the scaling. You can't just
Sure, we'll get the scaling right.
You can't
We'll
put a
get the
random
scaling
object in front and just say there you
feel
go. You have to.
No.
make sure
I'm
the
talking
scaling is
about
correct.
not talking about Blackpool Tower. I'm talking about the Isle of Man.
I don't give a fuck about Isle of Man. We should do the Blackpool Tower
Isle of
one,
Man,
and then we
because
can ram it
Blackpool
right
Tower
down
is
their
not
throats. Brandon.
Blackpool Tower.
Listen,
is
we're
not
already past your
situation-
nonsense, Jake.
Jeremy,
Past your nonsense.
Blackpool Tower is not the situation I described.
I know. I want to put this
Things
Blackpool
below-
bullshit.
Below,
Jake, I want to put this Blackpool shit to bed more than I want to appease whatever stupid challenge you got. Alright.
But I don't care for the Blackpool. I have the
Well,
Isle of
a
Man.
lot of people do right now. We're about
Totally different
we're
from
about to
Blackpool.
bury that shit in a
Yeah,
coffin.
anybody wants to put it to bed. If anybody wants to put it to bed, it's easy as this. Go to RANTY on Baldy Cats. His first demonstration, how he sets up his scale with the 12 meters underneath that Ferris wheel. Okay, and then draw lines to match that 12 meters. And the Blackpool Tower itself, he cuts it off before the tower and lifts up his ruler. It's slick. I went over it, and it comes out to like almost 300 meters by his own scale. I'm about to put a video out. I started to do it before this show. After the show, I'm going to put a video out showing you it's obvious that his scale is off big time. I don't know if he just made a mistake or if he's lying, but you be the judge of that.
Yeah, I think I understand what Chaiki's saying, where the observation being made, the object in the far background is a mountain with a higher elevation, but it's appearing below the eye level of the observer. I think it's what Chaiki's kind of getting at.
We got you. We just like Blackpool. We got you. We get Pebbles
Not
or Sky
like
Free on that.
Blackpool. Nothing like
We don't care.
Blackpool.
Honestly, we're past caring what you want.
No, no, Jeremy. I had a challenge. That's my challenge.
Fuck your challenge.
Something
We're gonna
that
fucking
is
bury this Blackpool
above eye
bullshit.
level. Look, I made a claim here. Something that
I don't
is
care.
above level, that is the line that is parallel to the surface, will never appear to be below something that in front of it
How about
that
the
is
sun?
below the
How about the sun? How
line.
about the sun?
You will never hear my argument if you don't listen. So that's my challenge to Chris Berry, who bailed out.
How about airplanes, Chaiki? Airplanes are like airplanes are 7 miles in the sky and they fly off to the horizon and then they're gone. How about the sun, the moon, anything in the sky?
I
Anything up high.
have the same
It
same
disappears.
situation in the sky. I have this picture, same situation of the sky from Wolfie's channel, but no one understands what they look at.
No one
But when you
understands
look
what you're
at the
saying.
tower and the mountain, you do understand. I'll post that picture now.
Yeah, write it down. Write an essay down, and we'll get right on that. In the meantime, no, Brandon, we should definitely get some people to recreate the Blackpool thing. That way, we can ram it right down their throats.
Why can't you do it, Jeremy?
That'd be- Bro, I got kids. I'm busy and shit. I'll pay someone to do it.
Here,
how much?
here,
How
Jeremy.
much?
Hey, pay me,
Crypto.
because I'm about to put out a video showing you the scales are fucked up. Really, it's obvious, man.
No, I don't want to
can't
see
believe
the
nobody
fucked
caught
up
this.
scales, Leaky. I don't want to see the fucked up scales. I want to see it recreated.
Yeah, like a real scale. That's something. The scaling that you can agree to is correct, and then see the observation, right?
Yeah, get the size of the mountains
I
and the
agree.
size of the Blackpool, and then we'll mix some weird refractive effects in there, and boom.
Use millimeter. It's easy. And you see the picture I posted, Jeremy?
I
Same
didn't see it,
thing.
Chike.
Same thing. What's higher?
So if it's the same thing, why are you bitching
I'm
about
asking you, Jeremy, what's higher, the sun or the cloud?
it? If it's the same thing as Blackpool, why are you bitching
I'm
about
asking. No, it's not.
I'm asking you.
Blackpool, it's Isle of Man.
I'm
What
asking
is
you.
higher, the sun or the cloud?
it? What's higher, Blackpool or the mountains?
Mountain.
No, Blackpool looks higher.
Blackpool is certainly not higher.
Well, looks higher.
Ah, looks higher. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
higher? I'm asking what's higher. I'm not asking what looks higher. I'm asking what's higher.
Oh,
the
in
sun?
actuality?
Yes.
I'm guessing the mountains are probably higher.
The sun or the
Safe
clouds,
bet.
Jeremy. I'm talking about the picture I posted.
I don't, dude. I do not give a fuck about anything you're posting. I'm gonna guess.
Chaiky, he
the
doesn't
sun.
look at chat. So posting
Yeah,
a
it's
picture and then
probably
asking a
the
question
sun.
is, yeah.
It's
No, it
just
doesn't
refraction.
We'll go with
look
the
All
at
it
anything.
is refraction.
It's easy.
Thank you.
What kind of refraction?
What kind of refraction? 8 inches per mile square refraction. That's the
Standard
optical.
horizontal.
Yeah.
Standard horizontal refraction. 6 inches.
It's
you
about
draw
8
me
inches
the
per
upwards
mile squared.
Can you draw me a
Varies.
picture?
Exactly. This
And
is
I-
exactly
I've
as
looked-
expected.
I've
That's
looked
what
at
the
the
problem is.
picture. I've looked
My
at the
predictive
picture.
capabilities of flat Earth.
I have
You know,
looked
we
at
have
the picture. I have a question, Jeremy.
What's up?
I've looked at the picture.
Yeah.
Chaiki, you think you're seeing the sun or the glare? How much of that is glare, and how much of that is the actual sun? Remember
There's a lot
Ranty
of
and his
glare.
glare?
The sun is in the middle.
You sure the sun's in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you know that?
Open the picture, full size, you'll see.
No, Chaiki, I've already looked at the picture I told you. How do you know how much of that is sun and how much is glare?
How does that help you at all?
What do we need help with? This
We
is
can
exactly
agree.
as we
We
expected.
can agree.
What does this picture prove? What does this picture prove to you, Chaiki?
Well, I see the sun below the cloud, and there is no part of the sun that is above the cloud, so it doesn't matter where you
What are you
place the
talking
sun
about,
right
Chaiki?
there.
What the fuck are you blabbing about, dude? You can see it above the cloud.
He's
No,
talking about the one that's
the
that
one that
appears
is
above.
below.
Well,
Yes.
only if you're a retard. That cloud is right in front of you.
That cloud is right in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As it
I don't think this is the
happens,
best
You don't
argument, Chaiki.
understand
I-
horizontal refraction,
as
Model.
it happens, that cloud is several thousand feet below the airplane. Several.
Yeah, I got
thousand
$20
feet.
worth of Bitcoin to anyone that shows, and I mean other
And
people can chip in
multiply
if they
both
want, but
afterwards.
anyone that shows, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Anyone
Jeremy,
that shows,
I was talking.
all right, my bad. I thought you were done.
There's no moderation here.
I thought you were done. I'm the moderator, bitch. Go
You,
ahead.
the moderator. You should moderate
It's
yourself.
Friday night fights. Honestly, there's no moderation. But go ahead, Jake.
I was asking a question.
I'm sorry. I thought you
No
were
one
done talking.
cares.
Go ahead.
Go on.
It tends to be that cloud that you think is above the airplane is several thousand feet below the airplane.
Listen,
The
even
airplane
Bio's
is
telling you your argument sucks.
45,000 feet. There's
It's not that
no
his argument sucks. It's that it's very technical and it requires a lot of explanation. So I don't think it's worth it. But I understand his argument, and it is a great argument. I just don't think it's worth it in this environment.
That's what I said, BioDuel, because no one understands this argument. I bring the Blackpool because there is a tower and there is a mountain. And
Yeah,
we know
we're
the
gonna-
mountain.
And yet you both refuse
is farther
to look
away.
at the water level.
Again, get out of your
This is
one-dimensional
dangerous.
argument, and then you can come to me. That's fine.
You're a fucking dick.
You're the one that keeps bringing it up, man. There's so many
That's because
topics.
you can't address it, and you
There's so many
refuse to address it.
There's so
Fuck
many
you.
topics that are trying to be discussed, and then randomly you'll go water level, spirit level.
Because you can't fucking cope with it. You keep shutting it down.
No, I don't care about that.
Because it ruins your whole heliocentric model.
No, it doesn't. I have other tools. That's what it is.
I'm done,
not,
by the way.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in everything.
Other tools to ruin the heliocentric model? I'd like to see more of those.
If you can provide one, I'd be interested.
No, I provided you with one. You refused to look at it.
Oh, you're making
And
the claim that it
and
destroys
call
the
me
globe.
one-dimensional. You're a fucking dick.
Oh, I didn't know that was your claim that it destroys the globe Earth. Can you explain that? I am interested now. Take it.
Okay, so when does a water level tool used to create a two-dimensional horizontal plane of reference, when does that stop creating a straight line and become a curved line?
Oh, so you said that tool is used to destroy the globe, and I'm wondering how it does that. So you asking me a
water.
question,
Water level.
doesn't mean anything. So,
Thank you.
So that's it. Globe destroyed now because of that. You asked me a question, then you said the word water level, and that's it. I don't find it very convincing.
And you refuse to look at it. You refuse to look at
I'm
it.
asking you to explain it. You apparently are an expert on it, and I'm not. So I'm asking for you to explain it.
A water level creates a straight line, horizontal plane of reference. In your mind, it somehow has to curve.
Can't control the
no, false.
That's what it is. The government can't control the populace.
Beautiful. Okay, so what do you do with this horizontal? And then how long is it horizontal for? And what are you measuring it against?
You're not going to control me or anybody else again, ever.
Agreed.
You need to
Why
get
in the world?
your mind.
Bro, dude. What kind of shrooms are you on?
Yeah, I'm just blunt.
You're blunted.
So that was it, Rob? I was very excited to get on this spirit level, water level thing and expand and destroy the
I'm not
globe.
talking about a spirit level. I'm talking about a water level. Maybe if you knew what a water level was, you wouldn't say spirit level.
I've asked you many times. Please explain. You seem to be the expert, and I'm not, obviously. And I'm asking you for the information.
A water level has 2 points of reference on it. Right? You benchmark one, and it creates a straight line to the other one. When does it stop making a straight line?
So how long is it, or how much is this distance?
You can make it as long as you want. If you survey out a mile using differential leveling techniques and you find an 8-inch drop at one end, is that elevation or earth curve?
Could be either. That's what you have to determine, right?
Oh, you better talk to your boy Curved over at Gems on that.
No, it could be either. Because when you set them up, let's assume a flat Earth with an 8-inch elevation raise, and you have two things, and then they're going to deviate by 8 inches. Yeah, of course it's elevation. Now, if you have an elevation at sea level, let's say coast to coast of a lake, and then you get deviation, then you know it's not elevation. It would be Earth curve.
I've heard Curve say many times, Earth curve's not elevation is not Earth curve.
Cool. So I don't have daddies. So I know that QE is
your
your
Glover
daddy. Curved is not my daddy. I don't have daddies. So
daddy.
whatever he said, I could give a shit about.
Curve's your Glover daddy. Well, Curve's he's not going to be too happy about you saying this. I'm going to let him know.
Okay. I don't have a daddy. You could give a shit.
He's your Glover daddy.
No,
okay.
he's
so anyways, we're getting away from the
than-
content. We're getting away from the content of the conversation,
You're right.
and
You're
it's
right, my
just
bad.
yeah. So again, it could be both, and I clearly explained it. If we just assume an Earth with one side being elevated 8 inches higher or lower, I don't give a fuck, but the elevation change, and then you measure, and you have an 8-inch change, then yeah, of course it's elevation. But if you do it, let's say coast to coast of a lake, and you get deviation, well, it's not elevation, right?
So let me just be clear. Earth curve elevation is Earth curve. Is that what you're saying?
No, those are two separate things. As I just explained, they are separate things.
Elevation is not Earth curve.
Correct.
So as the elevation is staying zero the whole way, you're saying that's
if the elevation is not changing the whole way, but you get a deviation from horizontal, your only logical conclusion, you have two logical conclusions. One, you fucked up or your equipment sucks. Or the second option is the curve exists and you just measure.
Do I need to clean
and there couldn't be any third. That's a false dichotomy.
Well, if you offer a third one, that's fine. But those are the two that I clearly see.
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob.
Breaking. Got a donation from Jack who says, "Is Jeremy Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs, or do I need to clean my ears?" You guys know who Mr. Pink is?
He's got a thick accent. And,
Steve Buscemi?
Yeah, I think it. Why do I have to be Mr. Pink?
Yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah, it was a good ass movie.
It is.
Yes, we can agree on that.
So, I mean, go ahead, Rob. I didn't want to steal the show from you.
Excuse me,
Rob. You there?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I got my hand in brake paddles now, so
no doubt.
I got a job to do.
All right.
Thanks, BioDuo, for your participation.
Yeah, you're gonna get a participation trophy for this, Bio.
Thanks, guys. The highest honor in the flat Earth community. I appreciate it.
That's pretty funny.
Which brings me back to my first question.
I don't like to insult too often, but that was
why are you here?
Pretty good.
Why are you here? Are you here to help us, or are you just here to mock?
It's his job.
Well, I just don't know what you're
I've
here
explained
for.
it a few times. I'll explain it, and I've explained it the same way every time. I learn the best in the face of adversity. So when it comes to this type of debate or argument, I have learned a lot because I'm posed with questions that I don't have answers to, particularly ones that interest me. And Jeremy will contest to that, where something new will come up, and I'll even say, "Oh fuck, I got to research that. I have no idea." Would
but
you
I
agree,
never
Jeremy?
get no answers. How
No,
do
I
you measure
try
how much
to.
gas every day escapes Earth?
Oh yeah. I couldn't get too far into it, but I think what they're doing is mathematical projections based on thermal
Your whole
exchanges
thing-
of energy. I don't think that they have a tool in the upper atmosphere measuring it. And I think what they're doing is observing other planets and the composition, blah blah blah. I don't know. It's super complicated, but the point is, I think they're doing it mathematically. That's what I think.
Sure. Well, and they're in this mathematical model they've made of how the sky works. At what height did they have? You know, if a gas particle goes past this point, then it's gone. Or wait, you said it depends on how fast.
I think terminal velocity. I think that's how they determine it. Yeah, if it has enough energy for terminal velocity of that particular molecule, like the hydrogen, helium, whatever it may be, if it has the energy for a terminal velocity, then I think they deem it to leave.
And what determines that this gas molecule gets its terminal velocity? Heat.
Yeah, probably a combination of radiation, heat, gravity, other forces, whatever it may be. I think it's a combination of many things, and if it comes out to where it has the energy to leave, I think they just.
Why would gravity be at play here?
Well, it's just another force, so it'll be down, and then you'll have other forces up, and then side to side, whichever directions you want. When you add them up, you get a net velocity. So if that net velocity, being the terminal velocity, is enough, then I think they deem it. But again, it's still ignorance on it because it is so complicated.
But no, you're
learn it in 2 hours.
Probably right. You're probably right. It's probably just a mathematical model they made up of how the sky works, and that's all. Just like everything else.
I'm not sure how they tested it. It's possible that they have, but I didn't read that. It's possible, but again, I can only present what I read.
Well, if they're going off the how hot the gas gets, I mean, once it gets up that high, it's all that hot in the daytime. Or is some gas molecules not getting as hot as other ones when they're right next to each other?
Well, that's why I made the distinction with energy, because even at that height, the temperature will be great, but the heat transfer won't occur that much because there's not many molecules.
So some gas molecules right next to other ones are getting more heat transfer than other ones, even though they're right next to each other.
Well, I think that the transfer of this energy is a lot. It occurs a lot less. And QE muted me last night for it. And the analogy I'll make is, if you have a bathtub full of water and you get it to 90 degrees Celsius and you try to get in, it's gonna fuck you up. We can all agree it's gonna fuck you up bad. But if you get in a sauna where you just have the gas water at 90 degrees Celsius in that room, you're fine for an extended amount of time. There's a noticeable difference in the amount of time that you could spend in it and the damage to your body. So that's essentially what I'm talking about.
Do you mean a steam room, not a sauna?
Sauna, steam room, whatever paints the picture best for you.
How is this analogous at all, though? This is
well,
not
that's what I'm talking about. So the temperature of a given volume could be a particular value. So that's why I gave 90 degrees in both scenarios. But because of because there's less molecules within the gaseous room than there is in the liquid form water in your tub, the heat transferring is going to be a lot less because it's less molecules hitting your body.
Okay, so two people.
The same
So the
temperature,
people. Hold on. Are the people the gas molecules in this analogy?
No. The analogy is the heat transfer. I'm talking about heat transfer. So
yeah,
in the
people
upper
are
atmosphere.
the gas molecules, right?
No. In the upper atmosphere, the transfer.
Analogy. What are the people?
There's a disconnect somewhere. Then, I'm not making an analogy to people.
People going into a sauna and people going into a pool of water at a certain temperature.
Right, but the point was, the same temperature area, you're going to get fucked up by liquid because there's more material with that temperature.
So you're saying the people are going to get hotter when they go into the water as opposed to... So the people are the gas molecules in this analogy, right?
No, I kind of get what he's saying. The water molecules are so close together in the bathtub, but in a steam room, they're farther apart. You're not going to get burned at the same rate. But I kind of get what he's saying.
We're talking about gas being in this area.
I get
so
that.
I'm thinking that
steam
the people,
technically is a gas.
Yes, but this is an analogy, and I'm assuming that the people are the gas. Otherwise, what the fuck are we talking about?
Okay, so
why would you even?
I'm going to try to reset it. Because the original conversation was the heat in the upper atmosphere, or the energy in the upper atmosphere. So that's why I was saying the molecules in the upper atmosphere will transfer energy when they collide, but there's not many to collide with when you compare it to sea level. The transference of energy at sea level is going to occur way more often and way more intensely.
So none of this energy is coming from it's all coming from the interaction from other molecules, not from the
Some of it will, but then you also have radiation being imparted onto it as well.
I liked your analogy. Your analogy was good at first with the people, but then you realized how bad you fucked up and had to say, no, that's not an analogy. I wish
No,
we would've
there
kept
was
it
a
there,
disconnect, and I was trying to solve that.
There was a disconnect,
and I was.
the people.
I got it. It was pretty simple.
People were the
Thank you.
gas molecules in that analogy, and you were going to try to say,
It was just
the
about
gas
heat
molecules
transfer.
aren't getting this hot because they're in a steam room as opposed to the sauna or whatever.
It was just pointing out the principles of heat transfer and the density of the medium that you're in. Even though these two mediums have the same temperature, they're not going to transfer the same amount of heat.
This isn't that difficult to get. Come on, Jeremy. Come on, man. Come on, buddy.
That's why I'm saying there was a disconnect. I don't think I'm explaining it wrong. I may have not tailored it for you specifically.
Oh, you're so fucking thoughtful.
So the gas molecules are in this medium of steam or hot water, right?
Well, I'm just talking about the heat transference of placing something. Even let's just say it's a tool that specifically
Let's just say it's gas molecules, since that's what we're trying to. You're trying to have an analogy to gas molecules, right? The gas molecules are getting hot.
No, I'm explaining heat transfer.
You can't use an analogy with the gas molecules because I will fucking destroy it.
So, there's a clear disconnect. It seems like Kiefer and Tony get it. I'm not sure who else does or doesn't, but there is a disconnect, and I don't know where it is.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with it, man.
How do you
Crazy
not
when
agree
you
with
get up
it?
there and if they say it's 4,000 degrees and shit's freezing, then it ain't 4,000 degrees. I don't give a damn.
Well, that's the point of what I was trying to explain, because a bathtub full of water that is 90 degrees is gonna fuck you up. Just like your thing about 4,000.
You have to say something is what it isn't. You have to give a crazy explanation why something is not what it is.
That's not crazy, though.
How's that crazy? He's just explaining on a smaller scale what would happen up
Like
there.
I say, we wouldn't see 1 degree of curvature, even though it's 3,100 feet. We wouldn't see 1 degree.
Well, that's just
and then when we get up 120,000 feet, and we should see 9 miles of curvature away from us. We don't see that because we're up high. It's just that we don't feel the molecules because they're dispersed, but it's really 4,000 degrees.
No, but Brian, that's the point. That's the point in this analogy.
But it isn't.
That's the point in this analogy is that when you have matter close compacted and a lot more of it, at 90 degrees, they're going to transfer that heat very quickly and very intensely to your body. Now, if you have that same, hold on, Jeremy. Hold on, Jeremy.
It's not just that, bro. I understand, but it's not just that, bro.
Brian, hold on. If this is an analogy, what are the gas molecules in this analogy?
You can tell it's so hot by how.
That's what I thought, Bio. That's what I thought. What are the gas molecules?
Jeremy, you not understanding is not an argument.
They say that
you're not making an analogy, Bio.
Well, no, we can't get air to spin with solids when we spin it in a circle. We can't get it to go lockstep. But in a billion years, it would be lockstep. All this shit is why something ain't doing what it's supposed to. It's nuts. Like helium. Well, if you leave it there in a vacuum chamber, you put a tiny bit of helium, it'll drop to the bottom eventually. It'll lose energy and fall down. All this shit, we just don't see any of it. I can go on and on and on and on.
How would it not?
See, I think the gas molecules would be analogous with the water molecules. They're more condensed, meaning the transfer of heat would be faster in the bathtub. They're more spread apart in a gas form in the steam room. But the problem is, where I see it, it's just a matter of time, where in the bathtub it would be immediate, and the steam room it would be more drawn out. So at some point, those things still have to hit 4,000 degrees up there.
No.
Right, and that's fine. I understand that argument. Yes, you're right. Those individual molecules will have enough energy that we interpret as 4,000 or 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. That's fine. Totally agree. Yes, but it's not occurring fast enough, and it's not occurring enough to have particular damage.
And it's certainly
So,
not
in your
enough of those
analogy,
molecules.
in your analogy, water was gas and then gas was gas.
I'm not going to explain it. I think a few people got it, and that's fine.
Nobody got it.
If I were you, I wouldn't take the confident route of I don't understand, therefore it was stupid. I would just take the route of there was a disconnect somewhere, but that's it. That's the route that I'm going to take.
Taking the route your
We
analogy.
understand what you're saying. You just can't demonstrate it, man.
You just proved you didn't know what he was saying.
That was the
No,
demonstration.
I'm talking about to that extent. Look, nothing near that extent. They keep saying it's a vacuum up there. You know, whether rockets work, you know, we say, look, hold on. We say rockets don't work in a vacuum. You know what? They may have rockets up there. And if they do, that's because it ain't a fucking vacuum, man. Like they're saying, dude. It just gets cold. It gets super cold, and the air spreads, it thins out, just like the balloons in liquid nitrogen. It's easy to demonstrate. All the shit we talk, we demonstrate. All the shit y'all talk is rhetoric. Rhetoric,
You haven't
bro.
demonstrated nothing. You haven't demonstrated anything that would make
We
me
have all
change
the
my mind, at least.
demonstrations.
Nothing was that good. Like, come on, man. You did
We have
something.
all the demonstrations, all the science.
Really?
Yes.
Say it, Jeremy. Facts and
Science.
figures.
Jeremy, let me see your science
Facts
right
and
now.
figures. Tell them, Bio.
No, you tell them. That's not my thing.
That's chemo shit. I'm on my shit.
Hey, I've been
We have all the
arguing with chemo for 5
demonstrations, bitches.
Does cold turn things to be black?
What's up, everyone? What's up,
Y'all
Jeremy?
see my Brian Dish experiment? Y'all see my Brian Dish experiment? I proved that heat melts melts matter or mass. Heat melts mass. I did it with lead. I did it with lead. I did it with tungsten. Yeah, heat melts
Who was
mass.
questioning that? Who was questioning that heat melts mass?
He's doing phlogiston experiments. What do you want?
No, I am.
Well, we
Do
heard
pressure.
that, we heard mass attracts mass. We heard
Do
that mass
pressure.
attracts mass. To learn more about mass. So we
Right,
were like,
Brian,
what else
do
can we
pressure.
learn about? What else can we learn about mass? So we put some heat to it. And we found out that heat melts mass.
Right. So now do pressure.
For real? What are you saying? If I put
Change
wood
the
on a
pressure,
fire,
and
it burns.
you'll get the same result. Do pressure.
If I put wood on fire, it burns. I mean, we all have done experiments.
That's the whole fucking point. Like you say that mass attracts mass using Cavendish, and all they use is fucking lead. That's why.
Well, they use other
But
materials.
someone would have to have
Brian.
said that heat does not melt or burn mass.
Bio is in the middle of doing a Cavendish
They're
experiment.
trying to
in a
make
vacuum
funny,
Who said
Brian.
head, and he is going to use frozen. I heard you're going to use. Tell him what you're going to do, Bio.
No, they already know. I've talked about it a few times.
You're
But
not going to account for the variables that I would have you check to see if they even are variables, but it's another story.
I said I was.
Use something non-conductive.
No, that's the point. I'm going to be using different materials. I'm using kettlebells as the big masses in the beginning, and then I've got brass and stainless steel. I think mini weights, and then
Some sand mix. Get some concrete, some sand mix, and some.
Yeah, that'll be eventually.
Graphite. Yeah, anything you do that's conductive, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I'm going to use organic material.
It's electromagnetism and air. So
all you got to do is get like.
He's got
Faraday
Faraday
want to see something non-conductive.
Yeah, I'm going to use organic material at some point too. Yeah, I'm going to use.
also tell him what you got.
That measures the electromagnetism in the room or something.
Here, the best way to do it for metals, the best way to do it for metals and magnets is to use 2 diamagnetic and 2 paramagnetic materials. And if you have the same effect, then we know that has jack shit to do with the experiment. That's how you would know.
Yeah, but didn't you already set up a cop out?
You say diamagnetic like it repels. Okay, diamagnetic just means it doesn't stick to a
Hey,
permanent magnet.
Matrix.
But don't you already have a cop out set up? So if it doesn't work, it means you did something wrong.
Yeah, that'd be the initial reaction. The initial reaction, because I'm not going to do this one single time and then form a worldview opinion. So my initial reaction will always be, yeah, I fucked up. I'm human. I'm not using professional equipment. I'm using random shit I got on Amazon that I think will work. Yeah, I'm fallible. So my initial thought will be, I fucked up. And I'll make as many adjustments as I can. And if I can't make any more adjustments, then I can form a conclusion because I have nothing left to do.
And you'll be a flat earther. This doesn't work, correct?
Probably not. I'd probably still be globe, but then I would deny gravity as mass attracting mass. That's probably what the logical conclusion.
But it seems like you already have
That
your
would be
mind
spending
determined.
space time.
It seems like you guys have your mind too. We both have our minds set.
Right. I do have my mind determined, but that has nothing to do with the experiment because the experiment doesn't care about my opinion.
That's right.
Is that RC Meisty?
That you're not going to.
Is that RC Meisty in here?
No, that was Jay that said that.
Sounded like RC Meisty.
No, but Jeremy, you brought up some variables.
No, that was Tony Vagina.
I mean, you still don't think they're variables, though. If the time, the reason we knew distance, the reason that we knew distance was a variable was because they timed it. They said different times. Blue even told me this. So, we used time before to see that things were variables, like distance. And now I'm saying, hey, we should time things. And you're like, no, it doesn't matter. It's all about the effect. When you're like, no, so I don't know why you're not willing to time these things when we can find out if they're a variable.
Here, Jeremy, you can time it. It's gonna be streamed, and I'm gonna have multiple camera angles. I don't give a shit about the timing. If you think it's important, then you can time it when you watch it or review it or whatever. That's fine. I'm not saying
you don't care if you have
I'm
a
saying
variable
it doesn't
you're not
matter.
accounting for. You are one hell of a scientist, Bio.
Again,
No, I'm just saying,
you can account for it if you want.
It doesn't matter. Because it doesn't.
This is how you guys do science.
No. How about this, Jeremy? As soon as the balls or the kettlebells or whatever stop moving and are attracted to each other, what do you want to do after that? Is the time going to keep going, or when do you stop the time?
What he's talking about is the difference in oscillation periods. That's what he's talking about.
Why not just wait till the live streams it?
Right, that's
why sit here and argue about what's gonna happen just when he live streams it?
It's already been live streamed once, but by Blue, and now there's a second.
Well, he said he was going to stream.
Well, Blue's thing isn't exactly. I mean, Blue needs to get up on me because I could show him how to do.
Because
direct
electromagnetism.
science,
No. Mine's going to be in a vacuum chamber. That's the difference.
Isn't there a way of?
I don't know if that have an effect, man. It's electromagnetism.
I don't think it will.
He's Bio's checking for.
But in the vacuum chamber,
See,
the
here's
pump.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Here's what
Pumping out
Bio's
the air.
He's going to check for. He's going to put a Faraday cage and a copper cage around these things, but he's not going to time it with and without the cage. So
you can time it, Jeremy.
Because why wouldn't you time it? Don't you want to know if this is a variable?
It's the oscillation period. So what he's saying is.
That's what I told Blue, man. Look, he put sandbags instead of lead, and it stalled on him, man. And then he put the lead right behind the sandbags, and bam, it started working. Like,
are you planning to do this in a vacuum
you don't
chamber?
See it in nature. Yeah. Who cares?
Okay.
Even if he gets him to move it.
Are you planning to put the device inside the vacuum and then suck the air out and watch the results?
After it equalizes.
Okay.
Once the torsion bar comes to equilibrium, then that's when observations are made. But yes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask because I think that once the pump starts doing the sucking, it's gonna have an effect on the.
Oh, it will.
Apparatus. Yeah. That's what I was asking.
Because you have a pressure deviation, so it's pulling from the bottom. So
you're gonna do it after that time is done and
of course a sustained vacuum. Yeah, okay. I'm hoping that I haven't pulled a vacuum on the chamber yet because I don't want to add any stress that I shouldn't. But I'm really hoping that it holds a vacuum. The site said that it does for over 24 hours. So if it fucks up, I'm just gonna get a new one.
And are you gonna give it like an amount of time? Like I'm gonna give it a half hour, an hour, 2 hours, or you're just gonna leave it there until it does something?
It'll probably be a 24-hour.
What difference is a vacuum supposed to make?
So the claim is by Chemo, specifically Chemo. I don't know if anyone else has made the claim, but he's saying.
Oh yeah, that was you over at Humans on Earth. Okay, yeah, I heard. Okay.
Yeah. So the claim specifically by Chemo is that the mere fact that air exists around Blue's Cavendish is why it has motion. That's what he said.
Well, that's what Cavendish was studying.
It makes sense. It makes sense because air is a conductor of everything. Everything pretty much.
I'll tell you right now,
air.
guys.
So is it exposed to air? It might have a chance that it might be exposed to some sort of movement, some sort of pressures.
But Jay, you said it beautifully though. You said it beautifully that you would expect to see motion when you have pressure deviation. But that's why you allow it to get to equilibrium and not have motion. Then you perform the experiment. You said it beautifully, but you lost it.
Cavendish was studying that, man.
I'll tell you right now.
But it was listen, it was like 12 years before he did the Cavendish. Did they publish? But he was doing unpublished work, and he was showing that that different gas. He's the one who discovered hydrogen. He called it inflammable air, and he was trying to show that that different gases have different current or electromagnetism flows through them different, and that's what he was trying to prove with his setup. And it ain't in all the papers, but I read it when I was studying it, and so that's what he was trying to prove. But it went unpublished.
I'll tell you right now, you guys better hope that this doesn't attract in the vacuum, because Chemo already said he's going to be a glober after this. I don't know if anyone's ever seen Chemo pretending to be a glober, but he's no joke.
We don't want him. Yeah, you're right though.
Joke. He's just as good of a glober as he is a flat earther.
Like Gleam said, there's still energy in the vacuum, man. It's that's a flat Earth, that's a globe against the globe evidence. That,
no, not necessarily.
There's still energy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's still matter, but when you
what flat earthers think it is, then it's still working in the vacuum. If it's what we think it is, that's why we say you got to use something non-conductive.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying when I was going to say with if the air merely existing, we're not talking about the deviation of pressures. We know that will move something, but just the air existing around it. If it has any effect, when you remove 99% plus of it, you should expect to see a difference in the effect. You should expect that.
Well, I could tell you to save your money, man, because like I said, Blue has that brilliant device, and he put sandbags there, and it stalled. Okay?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not undermining. I'm not undermining Blue in any sense of the word. He's actually helped me tremendously, and I think he's also rooting me on to do it. But I'm not undermining. All it is confirming what we already know, and it's adding validity to everything that he's done so far.
Why do they just brush under? Why do they brush it under the table? That the sandbag stalled, and then he put the lead behind the sandbags, and then it started working again. Why do they not consider that? I mean, is it just me, or are they being? That's variable that they're just.
They're not worried about their variables. All they want to know is that.
What is your overall conclusion after this is done? After this is done, and it attracts, which is the goal of it. What are you going to conclude after that?
So it won't be anything new. Obviously, it'll just be confirming what we already know. But as far as like this environment goes, it would be, hey, this is more evidence confirming gravity because of these.
Don't we call that confirmation bias?
But
I gotta make a prediction, man.
All right, but other than the mass attracting mass, other than the assertion that because that concept might be real, that everything forms into a sphere, how is it that we go about proving the sphere Earth just because mass attracts mass?
No, yeah, you're right. No, I've said this a few times. I'm very surprised that flat earthers take the stance that mass doesn't attract mass, because yes, there are implications of that in which we claim, in free space, these things form into a sphere, but I think that's a separate conversation. I'm very surprised that flat earthers deny mass attracting mass.
I actually don't deny it. I don't deny mass attraction.
Let me make my prediction real quick. Let me make my prediction.
If you think mass attracts mass, you don't agree with
here's my prediction.
Einstein.
Every time it goes wrong, they're going to blame it on electrostatics and electromagnetism. And then when they get it just right, there's mass attracting mass. That's what Blue did. He did like 5 times and messing it up, and that was electrostatics. We got to put some copper foil up. Got to ground all 4 of them together. The plastic bags was having static. It's working perfect. There it is, mass attracting mass. It's a fucking joke, man.
Yep. That's why I'm surprised.
To me, mass does attract mass. It's very obvious to me, right? I don't necessarily mean on a galactic scale, planetary scale, but people, material, these things have an inherent attraction towards each other, right? So I see that. That's obvious to me, but I don't see how it concludes. But I don't see.
Can you show me that?
Matrix shit repels just as much as it
Brian,
attracts,
get your fucking mic out of your mouth.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
But things repel and attract depending on the polarity.
Oh, so you're saying if you were to call gravity,
mass attracts mass, you don't agree with Einstein.
Yeah, okay, that's a separate conversation. So Jay, are you saying that you have gravity, but you're assigning it to a different cause, essentially?
Well, you could call it whatever you want. Gravity, dropity, downbity, whatever you want to call it. Things, to me, it seems apparent to me that most of the things go down, right? You want to talk about air molecules and that floating, okay, whatever. But other than that, everything else goes down. So there is a downward bias. To me, bias is appropriate because when you have a bias towards something, that means you lean towards something and not necessarily just decide to take that one thing, right? To me, most
depending
things
on
go
the
down.
medium that you're in, right? I mean,
But
it's
we're
medium
obviously
dependent.
talking
Air,
about
yeah.
air. We're talking about air, right?
I can say this. I can say, man, everything goes up. Everything goes up. I mean, if you want to talk about some of these heavy solids, but all the water shit goes up in it, you know, and most of our area, our square footage is air, and then second place is water. So most everything goes up, really, and except for the pesky solids.
Most everything is more dense than air, so it will go through it.
Yep.
Well, if it's less dense than air, it goes up.
It's like
all
this, man.
relative
You weigh
density.
yourself in air, you're going to weigh a certain amount. Okay, and you weigh yourself in water, you're going to weigh a lot less.
This is
how
kinda-
people can't get that through their thick skull.
No. You might weigh less, but you're
because I'm with Matrix. I could actually see mass attracting mass on a flat Earth.
right.
So.
I agree. I agree.
I watched lead attract lead, and then 10 seconds later, or next video, I watched lead repelling lead. Okay.
That's why I
It's
told
on the
Chemo
target.
he's bugging. Chemo's
Fantastic.
bugging on this. We could have this on a flat Earth. I don't know why he's doing this.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I think if being very honest, if I were a flat earther, I couldn't logically deny gravity mass attracting mass. What would be more interesting is the effect that it would have. So a globe earther might say in free space, these molecules accumulate and form a sphere. That would be an interesting argument to have,
Where do
in
you
which
see this at?
they
What are you
don't
talking
form a
about, free
sphere,
space?
or they do,
Wait,
and that's the argument.
Where do you see that at? Where do you see that
I'm
at,
just
bro?
I'm just
Where
having
do
a
you see-
conversation, Brian. I'm not presenting it as a real thing.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that, bro. But you keep saying in free space. Where is that?
Yeah, what is
What are
free
you talking
space?
about?
Is that
You guys are
three-dimensional?
creating a phenomenon. You're
Yeah,
just
is
creating
that
Makes
three-dimensional
spheres, dude.
space?
The only thing that makes spheres
fucking
is something
see it.
tiny.
Or is that
I'm just-
fourth dimension with space-time?
Or is it?
You guys are like wolves smelling blood or
Makes a
something.
blob.
I brought up something to have a conversation in which you can have gravity on a flat Earth, and there are more interesting conversations to have.
We don't need gravity on Earth.
There is no mass attracting mass.
Yeah, we don't need it, but
It's all
it
relative
could be
density,
there.
guys.
I mean, it is relative density, but I mean, like we don't need the mass attracting mass. If it's there, or whatever, they're the ones that need that shit, not us.
You do
you
need
can
it.
take a piece of paper.
We
you can
don't
take
need
a
it.
piece of paper, drop it
Yeah.
in the air, and you'll see it go side to side, right? You take that same piece of paper, you crumble it up. It's the same variable within the same medium.
Oh shit! It's a clean density. It'll either fly or it'll
falls different
You've
when you
changed the
crumble it up.
surface.
Listen
James,
to me
you
real
changed the
quick,
surface
very
area.
carefully. Listen,
That's why it
listen
changes
to
its
me very
direction.
carefully.
density, but it does
But
different
look,
things.
man, all
That's
this,
funny.
it's like 1/50 millionth of a percent of a pool. Like this.
Yo,
that's
when you
the
wanna
shit
do
we
this?
see in everyday life, dude.
Hold on, let me finish,
Bro,
man.
you
The
guys just come
variable
right
is
over us.
very
Bro, what?
the variable is very
Come with me.
important. The variable is very important,
But we're
and
gonna
its
go in there
shape.
and do the thing anyways.
You guys are just like you're thinking mass
You're
attracts
like, I can
mass.
take
You
a
don't
break
see
in
that
here,
shit.
but I can't take a break out there.
Jeremy, you're hot mic'd. You can
Oh,
take a
my
break
bad.
whenever you want, but you're hot mic'd.
Well,
My bad.
all right. You could consider mass attracting mass like people, right? People are made out of
No,
mass.
it's all
correct?
dependent on the variable and the medium it's being measured in,
Okay,
and
but
the shape of it.
the
Because you
medium.
can take
We're
the
talking
same
about air right
variable,
now.
change its shape, and get a different result.
I get it. It's relative.
It's all relative.
It's all relative. I understand, but in this occasion, we're talking about air, or the main medium, which is air, right? Water is not the main medium because we don't live in water. We don't live in space. We live in
And if
air.
we did, most things would go up.
And we will have also a new understanding of physics because the physics won't be the same.
Oh, this is math, dude. It's the same math, dude. Look, things fall in air at a rate of 9.8 meters per second squared due to relative density, disequilibrium. It's simple. The math doesn't change. They're fucking retarded, man. Did they think that they got it all locked down because of the math?
They're Globers that disagree with Einstein. It's hilarious.
No, that's
keep
false.
at it.
You can
Keep
fight the
at
straw
it.
man if you want, but you're not going to fight.
It's not a straw man. He said it himself. He said that there is no magical invisible force of mass attracting mass. That's what he said. If you want to divine his thoughts and put words in his mouth, You go ahead.
Yeah, he said
It's
don't put it.
great.
Yeah, he said.
It's great.
Sorry, he said don't attribute it to him. He said this force of things attracting each other without a physical connection, don't attribute it to him. He didn't want nothing to do with it. Just because he measured
That
the
was
rate of something
Newton.
falling.
No, that was Newton. That was
That was
Newton.
Newton. Yeah, that was Newton.
The one
That's
that
who
he's
measured the rate of shit falling.
claiming.
That's right.
The one that he's claiming, yeah. He said, do not attribute innate gravity to me, because a person with any sort of, what did he say?
Yeah, anybody with a reasonable faculty of thinking, don't ascribe innate gravity to
Could
me.
never fall into it.
Anybody with a competent faculty of thinking.
It's almost
It's
like
funny
he
how he
knew.
said-
He knew that what
but-
was going to happen with that. He knew that was going to pin him down and put gravity assigned to him, and he knew what was going to happen. I think that's why he made that disclaimer.
Yeah, he said any competent faculty of thinking that no man could ever fall into. I just found that funny that's what he said.
How about the
Fall
other one?
into.
Shit, damn, I forgot what the other one said. Give me a second.
Another thing there is like
They don't
their
even know what
model-
they say, and they're sitting here telling you what they said and how they think. It's just fucking fascinating.
No, what I argued with is you saying the Globers deny something, but we don't. I can't remember what it was, but that's what I was calling the straw man on.
I just specifically told you how you do, and you just deny it.
No, because I see
That's
them
fine.
both. They're both one and the same, but Einstein is more descriptive. That's how I see it.
Yeah,
No,
in the
it's
globe
the
model,
bending and warping of space time.
Right,
Yeah, in
because
the
the
globe
mass
model,
exists with
Can
a
you
certain
bend
value,
time?
and that's going to bend
Can you
space
bend
time in a
space?
particular way, and that's going to give you a particular
This
attraction.
cannot be experimented. But it's nice to know you have a creation story or believe.
Beautiful. I'm glad you don't have a problem with my mass attracting mass experiment, though. Thank you.
So BioDuo and
I don't have a problem with
But what do you
anybody
mean by time and
claiming an
space?
experiment
Do
when
you
it's
mean like
not.
the space in front of my arms when I move around? I'm occupying at that moment, that time and space, that empty area. That's what you guys mean by time and space, or do you guys actually mean space out there?
No, I think of it like the unseen skeleton of space would be space time. That's how I view it. I don't have the best description, but when I interpret it, that's what I'm thinking of is an unseen skeleton of space.
I understand that. It's like the grid of reality, right? It's like the
Right. We don't see the
it's
grid,
like-
but there is
exactly,
a grid. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like the unoccupied space in front of you, beside you, on the top of you, and the bottom of you. That's space time, right?
I would just think of it like you just said, just an infinitely small grid of space, and then this mass will make these spaces, these squares or cubes, bigger or smaller depending on the sizes. Blah blah blah. But we don't see the grid, but we interact with the grid, kind of thing.
yeah, that's why their model they factor gravity out completely of the standard model, and then if they
Hey, let me ask.
if they try to
let me
use
ask Bio something
gravity,
real quick.
they have to add in dark matter and dark energy.
We don't require that, but go ahead.
Bio, if I take a beach ball and I bury it, I take it to the bottom of a lake, okay, and I bury it, like just a tiny bit sticking up, and the rest of it.
Shout out Brenda, thank you very much. Shoes. Indeed. Gourdzilla 37, $5. No sign of the R, but the L, I, A, and S are definitely here in the chat. Thank you for the show. Thank you, Gourdzilla. Appreciate it. Hope you guys are enjoying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So you have a lake, and you have a clear bottom of the lake where the let's say sand starts, and then that ball is placed under that sand, so it's not in water anymore. That's a good question. I've never thought about that.
It's not gravity, dude. It's not gravity. The air seeps up from under the ground, okay, under the solid, okay. It's not displacing water. It's not gravity, man. It's gonna come up through the.
No, I don't think it would come up.
And it's gonna come up through the liquid. It's gonna come up through the liquid. Yeah, it is. That's like saying you could put a plastic tarp over 10 soccer balls at the bottom of the lake and just cover it up with tarp, and it's not gonna displace.
No, I don't think it would because
The air comes up out of
you're
the
changing
ground,
the
man,
medium.
and then it comes
You're
up through the
changing
water.
you're changing the medium that it's in. So I would ask you that same material that's at the bottom of the lake. I would, to experiment with this, I would bring that sand onto the surface and then cover the ball. Now, if the sand continues to cover the ball, I have no reason to think that it would push the sand out of the way and rise up from under the lake because
Well,
you're
if you have
changing the
enough
medium
weight,
that it's in.
it comes down to, yeah, I agree, but it comes down to weight. If you have enough weight to keep the shit down, but look, like I said,
You're right. The
bubbles
weight
that
of the
come up
water
out
too. Yeah.
Wait, the bubbles that come out of the ground and at the bottom of the ocean, they come from deep underneath the ground. Okay, they're not displacing water down there under the solid ground. They're not displacing water, and that's supposedly the reason shit is buoyant, because it's displacing water. Now this shit's under solid ground, solid bed at the bottom of the ocean, and it's not displacing water, so therefore it shouldn't come up, man.
No, that's different. You're changing the medium. You're changing the medium. When we talk about bubbles, those bubbles aren't contained by a solid material.
Keep it out the ground, though.
Yeah. Because it's gas that's coming out. So yes, you have gas in this beach ball, but the beach ball itself, the outside of it is a solid. So it's not the same as pure gas moving and gas inside of this solid material. Those are two different things.
I'm talking about the methane and shit. It's seeping up from under the ocean bottom.
Right,
because it has nothing to do with the buoyancy equation. But listen, I know your mindset is going to make you come up with some reason, bro. But it's not a logical reason, and you'll never be able to demonstrate it, bro.
Right. So like sand, as a single granular of sand is solid, but when you put them all together, there's plenty of space in between for air to go through, or specifically gas. So there's no reason why methane wouldn't be able to go through this this material, because there are so many spaces. Yeah. It's not like a crazy magic. It's just, yeah, gas can go through sand, like not the individual particle, but in between each granular sand.
Yeah, but why is it going up?
Because of, well, it will be relative density. That's fine, but it's going to be the gravity pulling down the gravity pulling down the heavier dense material, and then the less dense material will be affected by that displacement, or it just freely travels, and it's yeah. I would say it's relative density, but based on gravity.
To get something underwater, man, you got to use force to get something underwater.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, shit ton of force.
Soccer ball underwater, you got to use force. You got to use force to get it underwater, and it's just kinetic energy going back to where it started. Same thing with lifting up in the air. That's the force. They ask why something dropped. You just use the force, get it up in the air, and it's kinetic energy brings it back to its easiest path to where it started. And they try and say it's a force pulling it down. Anybody says the force is just really not thinking, dude.
What if it's created underwater? What if it's created deep in the earth and goes up?
Matter cannot be created or destroyed, Tony. But
I'm talking about gas bubbles collate and then get to the point where they rise, but they didn't get pushed down. They started from down there.
Explain that, right? But that's why I didn't mention them. I mentioned the ones that water's not that's not displacing water. I meant because that's your buoyancy equation is how much water it's displacing. Okay, the shit that seeps up out of the ground, them deep pockets of methane way the fuck underground, that they're not displacing water. So what's your explanation?
They have energy. They're just gonna have energy from deep in the ground. Most likely, what is it? Conduction.
You can't put the buoyancy equation to that, bro. It's not displacing water. You're missing my point.
I got a question.
Yeah, that'll probably be more of a thermal energy.
Do you mind if I ask it? So you've got you just said that it is the water surrounding it that is pushing down and putting an upward force on the ball. How do you measure that force? Because the only place I think we'll measure a force, like say if we put a basketball underwater and let it go, the only place we'd measure force is from that ball, right? We wouldn't measure any force pushing it from below.
There'd be pressure change. There'd be a pressure change, I think.
It depends if you sustain it. If you're just holding it, then measuring, or if you're measuring and then it's being displaced. Yeah, you get pressure changes. But I think it's a good question, Brendan, of where you measure it and what's happening. But that's just displacement, really.
Well, I understand the theory, and I understand what you're saying as far as this stuff is being pulled down and it's pushing up this less dense material. But I can't tie that physically to the situation, and I'm just wondering how we could tie that physically to the situation, because the only place you're going to measure any force in that situation is above the ball, coming from the ball. Like if we held the ball down, we're not going to feel any force under the ball pushing it up, right?
Brandon,
Uh-huh.
the buoyant force arises from the pressure differential from the top of the ball to the bottom of the ball. There's a slight less pressure at the top of the ball than there is the bottom of the ball, and that's what is responsible for the buoyant force. If the atmosphere had uniform pressure throughout, there would be no buoyant force.
I need to stop you right there. So when I fill my tire up with air, is there more pressure at the top of the tire than at the bottom of the tire?
No, there's more pressure at the bottom of the tire than the top of the tire.
Really?
Yeah.
How would you test that?
Well, you have to have a very
uniform throughout the whole tire.
You have to have a very sensitive pressure meter. That's true in everything. You take a gallon jug and seal it off, and at the top of the jug, the pressure will be slightly less than the bottom of the jug.
Yeah, this is true.
Hey, we got George. I got George here. I want to ask him something, an honest question.
Well, hold on. Do you understand where I'm coming from, though, George? That we're never going to measure a force coming from below.
I have to apologize. I wasn't listening intently. So
all right.
Go through it again.
Sure. Here's the scenario. So we've got let's say a basketball, and we're holding it down in the middle of a pool. The story is that this buoyant force is pulling down the water, and that water is pushing the ball up.
Buoyant force doesn't
right?
pull things down.
Okay.
No, buoyant forces don't pull things down.
All right. Okay, hold on. So let me just kind of re-describe it. All right. The story is that the water is pushing the ball up because it's more dense, and the ball is less dense, right?
Well, that's part way to look at it, but the real mechanism that's responsible is that there's slightly more pressure at the bottom of the ball than there is at the top of the ball, even when you immerse it in the water, and that's particularly true. So that pressure differential, the fact that you have a little greater force at the bottom of the ball pushing up than you have at the top of the ball pushing down, is what's responsible for the buoyant force and for the ball to move upward towards the surface.
So if it was spinning, it would sit there and it wouldn't come to the top of it if you spun it, right?
Well, my point was that the only place you're ever going to measure any force in that scenario, I don't think you're going to measure any force from the water around the ball, pushing on the ball anywhere, but you will the only force you're going to measure is from the ball pushing up, right?
No, the ball does no pushing. It's the outside environment of the ball that does the pushing.
Where do you measure that? Where do you measure that? Where does it manifest itself, and where do you measure that force?
No, Brandon, I just want to try and help a little bit.
No, please.
The pressure
I would
is
like
only
George to
caused
answer
by
this
you
question.
pushing on the ball, though. The buoyant force is opposite you pushing it down, so you are causing that buoyant force.
So, George, where are you going to measure that? Where are you going to measure that
Nobody causes the buoyant force. The buoyant force arises because there's a pressure differential in the water. There's a gradient of pressure. It gets greater as you go deeper in the water.
I get that, but where are you going to measure the force, George?
Me, I will answer. I'm trying to answer. I would answer it 5 minutes ago and save you time, not to waste your time. Yes, thank you very much, James. Thank you. Thank you, James. I'm trying to answer Brandon's questions.
I agree with Brandon.
So you take
ball's just going to sit on top of the water until you push it under.
But everyone decided that Brandon don't need to hear the answer.
Go ahead, Chuck. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Everybody clear there.
I'm trying, but every time someone else think he needs to talk over me. So you take a cylinder and put a piston in it, piston can move. You put a spring in there and you sink it into water, and you will see when you push on the top, the spring gets shorter. The piston will push up on the.
When what pushes the piston?
What do you think?
When
the piston
who pushes the piston?
The piston push itself up against the spring. And there you measure the force.
Also proving me right, Chaiki.
Bottom, not from the top. You can measure the force on the top and the force from the bottom on the top. So there you go. Simple to measure. And if you measure the pressure differential, if you measure the pressure
Chucky, that's a crap answer,
differential,
bud. I'm gonna save you the embarrassment. I'm gonna cut you off and save you the embarrassment, buddy. But listen, Chucky, I got an
no,
honest question.
you'll embarrass yourself, Brian. Don't do it.
Maybe, but
So
this
I
honest question
haven't
you want
finished
yours,
talking.
okay?
I haven't finished talking, Brian. So if you take the
Okay,
pressure,
you're talking about
if you
piston,
measure, Brian, I haven't finished talking. Don't embarrass yourself. And if you'll take the pressure difference between the top and the bottom and compare it to the force that was on the spring, you find them to be identical.
Exactly. Now look, okay, check this out. Check this out.
I'm
so
done.
You still not done? Okay, good. Shit, this is for George or Chaiki, man. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay, so check it out. So I watched them try to show that about helium balloons in a vacuum. They had to use the real, and they had 3 of them, okay? And they got it down to almost as strong as the vacuum could get. And 2 of the balloons popped, but 1 of them didn't pop. I could argue that that the helium got compressed enough in there to drop down, but when he reached maximum vacuum, okay, in his chamber, it barely dropped down, okay? Now, I say the helium is blowing in all directions on the balloon, but it couldn't support the weight of the balloon, but it barely dropped down, okay? So that vacuum that he got in his vacuum chamber, you mean to tell me that that's going to fall at the same rate as a lead ball? Do you think there's an amount of air left that you could evacuate from his vacuum chamber that would make that helium balloon start racing down like a lead ball? I mean, let's put some common sense into this answer, guys.
I love it when you say that.
Well, it all depends how deep of a vacuum he pulled in that chamber.
How big your chamber is as well.
I answer this.
It sounds
The helium
like,
balloon barely goes
the guy didn't know what he was doing. If 2 of the balloons popped, he obviously filled the balloon too much with helium to begin with, because as you reduce the pressure, the balloon's going to expand. So that's why, like with weather balloons, you hardly put much helium in to begin with. They look very slack when you let them go, and then as they
That's what I was saying, though, George. I agree. That's what I was saying. Is I could argue that the balloon that didn't pop was strong enough to hold the helium enough to compress it a little bit, change its density enough to barely drop down. My point is
no.
I mean, I'm just asking you. My comment. I know for a fact that a helium balloon, just because it barely loses the buoyancy to support the balloon that it's contained in, it's never going to catch up with a lead ball falling through a vacuum. That's stupid to even think
well,
of.
it would.
It
would in a deep vacuum. Because if you have no air, if you have no air around the balloon or the lead ball, there is nothing to resist its falling. What keeps feathers and balloons and that from falling at the same rate on Earth as, say, a lead ball is the fact that you have air resistance. You have a large surface.
Yeah, why did he? Well,
there's no such thing as a perfect vacuum, so it's never going to fall at the same
That's
rate.
what you say. That's what you say, but he barely got the helium to fall in his vacuum chamber, and it had to get real compressed. I mean, the other 2 popped, like I said, man. The helium barely lost its capability of supporting the balloon in the vacuum chamber. It's still, and even on top of that, the balloon was blowing in all directions.
Listen,
wasn't going down.
Brian,
hold on a second. What happens to you?
Brian, how big was the
vacuum?
Brian? Brian, how
I
big
hear
was
ya.
this vacuum chamber?
It was one of them standard little hobby ones with a water balloon.
Okay,
with,
so when the
helium.
two balloons pop, now you have an atmosphere in there that's going to resist the other balloon falling.
No, he had to keep pumping. Okay, he had to keep pumping. And listen, my point is, George, is that
No, well, your point
my
is
point
you are
there's not enough
watching a
air.
video that is doing an experiment incorrectly.
No, my point is though, George, is there
Basing
wasn't
your
enough air
point
left in
on
there.
something that was not conducted properly. That's
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There was not enough air left in there. There's not enough air left to evacuate in there to make it speed up like a lead ball. It's insanity even thinking that, George.
No, it's not insanity. It's true facts. If you
So,
have
so
a
when you're
vacuum
doing this
ball,
experiment
it's
in the
gonna
vacuum,
fall
You just kind of
Why
demonstrated.
are you such a rude SOB?
it's Friday night. So when you're doing
Yeah.
this experiment in the vacuum, right? If without wearing any equipment, if you're in the vacuum when you do this experiment, what happens to you? Just answer it. It's what happens to you when you're in this vacuum?
Your blood would start to boil.
Okay, so how is it applicable to anything when you're outside of it?
What? I have no
How is it
idea what
applicable?
you're asking.
Whatever experiment you're doing in this vacuum, how is it applicable to when you're outside the vacuum?
What, you? You make
Yeah,
no-
like when you're in reality and not some man-made fantasy world.
I have no idea what you're asking.
You don't get what I'm saying there.
No, I don't. Not at all.
How is anything in a vacuum, any experiment, how is it applicable? Like literally, tell me, any experiment. I don't care what you do. In a vacuum, how's it applicable when you're outside that same experiment?
see what the effects
It
of the
doesn't
air
matter.
are.
It's demonstrating the fact that all objects accelerate at the same rate if you don't have outside influences creating
Well,
forces.
you want to control the variables, not get rid
That
of
never happens
Richard,
because
why
we
do
don't
you
have a
keep
perfect
interrupting
vacuum.
people? Why don't you let someone
because your
finish?
answer has been going on for 5 and 6 years. So
Yes, and you guys haven't caught up yet. Tighten up.
Here,
no,
that's something.
you're
that's
in a
something else.
vacuum, dude. You don't live in a vacuum. There's nothing
Okay,
about a
but
vacuum.
what would you think if you did do experiments in the vacuum and there's no air in a vacuum? Now, if you went outside the vacuum and all of a sudden the air started dropping and dropping, you would be able to know what's going to happen, right? Because you could predict what's going to happen. That's all it is.
No, you can't predict what's going to
But
happen.
he-
when you're outside the
But
vacuum.
he's saying in reality, where will you encounter
You
this?
can't predict what's
this
going to
vacuum?
happen
Where
outside
will
the
you
vacuum
encounter
when
that?
you're inside it.
In reality,
Drop a
Matrix, if
drop a
the
lead
air
ball.
starts, molecules
Drop a
start
lead ball in
disappearing,
the vacuum.
if air,
Drop a lead ball
molecules
in
start
the vacuum
disappearing,
at 10,000
things are going to
feet.
fall.
Hey, Richard.
A vacuum that's made 10,000 feet, right? Drop a
Hey,
lead ball
Richard.
in the vacuum.
If you take
Now
a
at 10,000 feet, drop a lead ball in the air, and it's going to take a curved path to the ground. Whatever way it starts spinning, it's going to curve that way.
Yeah. Hey, Richard, have you ever taken a basketball?
So when you say things fall at 9.8 meters per second squared or per second,
They do.
that's only in a vacuum, and it's not applicable outside the vacuum. That's my
Okay,
question.
Richard, fine.
Name
Hey,
one
Richard,
experiment that's
Richard,
applicable.
Richard, put your listening ears on.
Helium will never fall. You will never
Hey,
get helium
Brian,
to fall at 9.8
Brian,
meters a second squared, period.
Why would the lead
Let me
ball
ask
start
Richard
spinning if
something,
it was
Brian.
dropped perfectly straight?
Could I ask Richard something?
Things,
Have you ever
round things don't drop perfectly straight. They tend to spin in the direction they take momentum in.
Yeah, let's
If it was
let's
dropped
let George
perfectly
answer
symmetrically,
his question, man.
what's the reason
Let's
that it
let
should
George
spin?
answer his question, man.
Hey, Richard, have you ever taken a basketball and released it and watched it fall down?
Yeah, and I've also done it at,
Okay.
I don't know,
Take
roughly
it- Have you
200 feet.
taken a ball? Have you taken a ball and held it underwater and released it and watch it go up?
Yep.
Why did you do that? You don't live underwater. How's that applicable?
Well, it lets me know that the effect, right, of the
Can you just
ball
say that you're
is determined off the medium.
Can you just
I
say
get a
that you're
different
right?
result when I change the medium.
Listen to me. Listen to me. You don't
So
need
when
to
you
do
change
any
the
of that.
medium to a vacuum, you get a different result
Listen to
than
me.
when you're not
Just be
in one.
quiet.
But you want to
Just
make
be
it
quiet for a
applicable
minute.
to when you're
Be
outside
quiet for a
one.
minute. Be quiet for a minute. Take 3 bricks and 2 bags. So in one bag, you put 1 brick. In the other bag, you put 2 bricks. Go to a tall building and drop them at the same time. They will reach the ground at the same time. I guarantee it.
Say that again. 3 bricks. What happens?
Well, I would say it depends on the height, and it would change per
Why
height.
would it depend on the height?
Go
They're
and
all
have a go
separate
at it.
bricks.
I guarantee.
So if I drop
no
a
matter how high
basketball,
it is,
if I
they
drop
will
a
fall at the
basketball
same
chest
time.
height,
Oh, did you say 3 bricks? Will
no,
fall
they
at the same
wouldn't.
time?
No, they wouldn't.
Different densities?
One of them's going to get more drag.
Brian, no one can hear you, man.
One of
Brian,
them's
get
going to
your
get
mic
more
out of your
drag.
I missed Dr. Phil's
I
whole
missed it too.
explanation because
I
you
missed
guys
it too.
was
Could you
talking.
say it again?
Can you repeat yourself, Dr. Phil?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, one of them's going to get
Take
more
3
drag.
bricks, 3 house bricks, 2 bags. In one bag, you put 1 house brick. In the other bag, you take 2 house bricks. Now go to up a building, 10 floors, something like that, and drop them at the same time. I guarantee you they will fall, they will hit the ground at the same time. I guarantee it.
The 10 bricks in the bag and the 1 brick will hit the ground at the same time, you're saying.
The 2
No, they
bricks
wouldn't.
and the 1 brick bag will hit the ground at the same time. The 2 bags.
One would think.
No, they
one would
wouldn't.
think the one with
I
more
guarantee
weight.
it they will.
Hold on.
No,
One would think
only
the
at
one.
chest
Hold
height.
on,
money
James.
on it.
One
I'll
would think
put
the one
money
with
on
more
it that
weight
they will.
would accelerate just that much
What height
faster,
did he
right?
say? Top of the building?
No, it would have more drag. It would have
There
more
won't be enough
surface
drag on a
area.
brick.
It would have more surface
if,
area for
yo,
the
if you're
wind
falling
to
at the
hit.
It won't
same,
be on
if
a
they
brick.
fall at the
It's
same
not
time.
enough
They're
to make a
saying at,
difference.
hey,
The
hey,
brick will
wait,
hit
they're
the
Yeah,
falling at
ground
the
at the
not
same
same
gonna
time.
happen,
time, guys.
The surface area is gonna be negated by its weight. Remember, it's gonna be 10 times the weight
the
of
drag
the other
from
brick.
the air
Exactly.
will.
The brick will not make a
Yes,
difference. It will. The air
yes, it
pressure will
will.
not make.
I think
It
The
does
air
make a
pressure will
I
difference,
not.
think the
Prof.
10
Phil.
brick
You're wrong.
one
Yeah,
will
it
fall a
makes
little
a
bit faster
difference.
because of its weight. I think.
You're right,
But when you're
media.
dropping,
I
it's
He's
just a
wrong
bag
because
of bricks
listen,
falling.
Anybody
Dude,
wants
you
to
not get
bet
that?
me any money?
the only
You
time
guys are
they'll reach the
clowns.
ground at the same time, Prof. Phil, is if you didn't have a high enough height. Because
You can
force
go how high
equals
you want
mass
to go.
times acceleration. The fact that the other one has more force, more weight, the weight to drag ratio will be higher, and therefore
No,
it'll
they
fall
will hit the
faster
ground
over
at the
time.
same time. I guarantee it.
You're wrong.
There are
You
3
can go
bricks
10
falling
stories.
down,
You can
dude.
go
That's all it
100
is. 3
stories.
bricks and 2
They'll hit the
bags.
ground at the same
I
time.
know, and the 2 bricks in the 1 bag will fall faster because it has more mass. That means it
No,
has
it won't.
more of a weight drag to weight ratio, meaning it'll fall
Nothing
faster
to do
over
with it.
time.
Learn some physics.
You need to learn physics. Learn the
Why don't
drag
you go and
equation.
try it out? Instead
Learn
of
the
talking
drag
your big
equation, bro.
mouth, go and try
But
it
the
out.
drag, but
It's
the weight of the
velocity
extra weight
squared.
would
It's gonna
compensate for the.
it's over time. It's gonna add it up. The drag to weight ratio. Read up on it.
Do you live in a city where there's a building? Go and try it.
Again, I said if they're falling at the same time, that means that your height isn't high enough.
But the extra
You can
weight
go
is going
higher
to
if you
compensate.
want. Why don't you go
You
to
go
a
higher,
taller
you will
building?
see that there's a difference. Always
There
the
won't
same
be any
surface area,
difference.
same drag.
Nope.
The one that's heavier
Nope.
is gonna fall
Nope.
faster. It's the
Nope.
drag to weight ratio.
not
You need to
No,
read up on
that's
it.
bullshit. You
You're
don't know
wrong.
your physics.
He's wrong. He says.
He is most
This
definitely
is an
wrong.
actual experiment.
This might be a side note. Hold on, guys.
Professor Phil.
This might be a side note, but doesn't that seem more like a physics algorithm, right? It seems more like a video game kind of physics algorithm that everything falls at the same rate. When logically it'll make sense that the heavier thing will accelerate that much faster.
It will.
Hey, Professor Phil, you may not have heard this quite right. What he said is correct. The amount of drag that you're getting is a surface area to mass or weight ratio.
George, it won't make a difference on a bloody brick.
But the weight, the
It
extra weight
will,
is going
if
to
you
compensate
drop
for
it
it, though.
from high up into the atmosphere, it will make a difference because the aerodynamics is a bit different.
I'm talking about a tall building, George.
That's why I said if they're falling at the same time, that means your height isn't high enough, because they will fall at different rates because of the drag to weight ratio difference.
That's nothing to do with the acceleration. That's got to
It's
do
the
with
speed
other
at which it
forces
falls.
that
You
are
said
around
air.
that are around
Okay,
the
we didn't say
object.
perfect vacuum.
In a vacuum, they'll definitely hit the ground, hit the floor at the same
No,
time.
even in a vacuum, because there are no perfect vacuums. A vacuum is just
It
air with
doesn't
less
matter.
pressure.
It's the
Your height
whatever-
isn't high enough
whatever
if you're
is in the
seeing
vacuum
them
is
fall at the same
negligible.
time. Increase
Phil
your
is
height, increase the
correct
scale,
about the
and you'll always
vacuum.
appreciate a difference if the masses are
How
different
about
and the
this?
drag
Tie
is
them
the same.
together with string then. Tie them together with string. Tie one string around the one and tie
George,
one string around the two, tying them
George,
together.
listen to me.
And then
If
drop
you
it.
go on top
The
of a
problem is the
10-story
thing that
building
falls
and drop
first
one brick
will
and two
drag the
bricks,
other
I
one down,
guarantee
negating
you,
the whole
George, I'll
experiment.
bet you
Dude,
money that
you
hit
do
the
it
ground
side
at
by
the same
side, not on
time.
top of each other. That's kind of stupid.
Eventually, whatever's heavier is gonna start dragging the other thing. Or
That's true.
It's a thought
Phil,
experiment.
what
I
he's
can
I've
watch
saying,
this
done
show
it
just
so
to
many
make
Phil,
him
times.
talk.
Professor Phil, what he's saying is if you go up high enough, eventually they're both going to reach a terminal velocity, and those terminal velocities will be a little bit different because the aerodynamics are different in the weight to surface area ratio.
And
One
How
of
what
about
the
them's
hell
you
has
tie
that
them
got
up
to
with
do
string?
with
we're saying
acceleration?
though, that's what we're saying, George. He's saying that things will just splat out at the same time. We're saying that doesn't seem logical. It doesn't seem like both of them will
Yeah,
hit the
me
ground
neither.
at the
It is
same
George
time.
logical
is
if you
agreeing.
don't go up. It is logical if you don't go up high where you're going to reach terminal velocity. That's a total different situation. You have external
Well, it
forces.
wouldn't
doing
matter. One of
it.
them's going to reach
But
it
his
first.
entire experiment was
Never
to
be able
go
to
high
catch up.
enough. His entire
But
point
when you
was
go up high,
go
to the
high enough on
velocity,
a building.
Why
but
should it?
go
Why
up
should the
high.
height make a
If
difference?
you go up high to where you're reaching terminal velocity, then you are invalidating the experiment and trying to determine what the acceleration is due to gravity, because you are now have external forces that are modifying the results of the experiment.
You're dropping in
know that,
something
though.
that isn't constant. You're dropping in a medium that is not constant. You were going to
So
have a
if you
different
want
result
to
with
determine
both
any of this,
bags.
you have to do
Even
it
if
in
they
a-
had 2 bricks each,
you're not going to
you're still
have
going to have a different
atmospheric or air
result.
drag operating on the object.
I say a quick thing.
No,
But
it's not a constant that you're dropping it in. Once you get to such heights, let's say 35,000, you drop it from a passenger airline, 35,000 feet, you put 2 bricks in both of them. So it's the exact same thing. You're still going to have a different result because the medium you're dropping it in isn't constant. Get over it.
If you're in a 0G airplane, it doesn't matter how much you weight, you will still fall at the same rate as anything else, including the airplane. So weight has nothing to do with it.
Wait a minute.
That's
Wait a
just
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
common
wait a minute.
sense, though.
Wait a minute. What
Yeah.
are you saying? You're saying in a 0G plane where
Yeah,
it does
you can-
maneuver intentionally to negate weight.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
yeah.
there it comes.
But if there's a weight difference between me and some other bloke, we would all float inside the airplane. So weight is irrelevant.
You're not floating, you're falling.
Yeah, but we're falling at the same rate, even though he's weighing 100 kilos more than me.
So what? Things fall at the same rate. Big deal. Medium dependent.
Yeah, that's
including
that's
the
what
air.
we're saying.
The air is falling.
That's
the
what
same rate.
percentage said.
That's a
Percentage
limited.
said
That's a
that
limited
doesn't matter.
time, though. You can't equate that to Professor Phil's example that was dropping from a high building. You're dropping what? A couple seconds. What you think that's gonna equate to dropping things from on top of a building?
It's like a 30-second drop, isn't it?
Wasn't
How long is the
percentage
drop
saying that?
in one of those?
Didn't percentage say that weight affects the rate of fall?
So
Yeah.
doesn't conservation of momentum take some sort of effect when that's happening in that specific gravity airplane? Doesn't conservation of momentum, because of the enclosed nature, doesn't it take effect as well?
It's all about the variable and the medium. Period.
Variable.
I love you guys, man.
Yeah, whatever. We're dropping bags with bricks, right? There's your variable. And you're dropping it in the medium of air, which isn't constant. You could drop them in the medium of water. They're still going to land different because that water's not constant either.
Shout out to Tony V. We love you too. $20. Appreciate it, man.
I'm sorry, I felt like kind of talking shit today, but I love you guys.
all
Especially
good.
you, Matrix, man. Matrix and Jeremy. Sorry, I'm eating while I'm talking. Never mind, I'll stop. Okay, yeah, you two are great. There you go.
Did we figure anything out? Did we get to the bottom of anything?
No, I don't think so. I got to the
Shit.
side of it.
I was hoping tonight
Shit,
was the
no.
night.
Circle that we gleamed the cube. Remember that movie,
I
Gleaming
just
the
want to
Cube?
say to George,
Yeah,
he
pretty good.
mentioned terminal velocity. I think even before reaching terminal velocity, it will be like such that the accelerations, the rates of fall of these two things, the more dense, like the 2 brick in a bag versus the 1 brick in a bag, will be apparent. You don't have to reach terminal velocity for the force of the drag divided by the mass to have an effect.
What is
How
it you're
much-
trying to determine? Are you trying to determine if things fall at the same time due to acceleration of gravity, or what?
He was just saying that they would fall at the same time. I'm saying they wouldn't fall at the same time because of the different masses.
Well, the thing is the problem here is you have air resistance. And in order to demonstrate this with an atmosphere, you can't go up real high to where the velocity becomes significant to cause drag. You have to minimize the amount of drag on an object. So going high, all you're doing is increasing the drag, and sure, you're going to get invalid results. You're going to get results that you're going to conclude that they won't fall at the same rate. And that's obvious because you have air drag. The aerodynamics are different. You have to do these things where things aren't falling at a very high velocity and from not high up. And the only way you can really ensure this is to do it in a vacuum chamber. But if you want to do it in an atmosphere, you just have to ensure you don't go too high up so that air drag becomes significant.
Yeah, but when you do it in a vacuum, what I'm trying to argue is when you do it in a vacuum, you changed the medium. So you get a different result.
Doesn't matter.
When you're
medium is not an issue when trying to determine
it's the vacuum is the only way you can get 9.8 meters per second.
What the medium does is it creates a buoyant force that acts in opposite to gravitational forces. So the thing is,
no, it's the only way you can get it. It's the only medium.
Downward force due to gravity, and you have an upward buoyant force. You want to eliminate the upward buoyant force if you want to determine the acceleration of gravity.
So what I'm saying though is the only way you can get things to fall at 9.8 meters per second is within the medium of a vacuum.
Look,
which we don't live in.
9.8 meters per second.
And then you hold that applicable
medium
to
is
what we live
always
in.
there. What changes is your buoyant force. The 9.8 meters per second squared is always present, regardless of the medium. What changes is you have external forces that act in opposition to that. That's
No,
what
you're
changes.
just you're in a medium without those forces.
Now listen. Take a water,
which is not applicable to the world.
James, listen. Take a bottle and put a machine that put bubbles in a bottle of water, which push bubbles of air into the bottle, and drop it in a vacuum. The bubbles will fall at the same rate of the bottle. They will not move up.
But only in a vacuum, right?
No, the bubbles are inside the water.
Only in the medium of a vacuum.
The bubbles are inside the water. Same water as they were before.
So if I take this bubble and because it's submerged in a vacuum, I submerge it in water.
No.
I submerge it in water and then I let the bubble go, right? It goes up, right? Is that what it happens in the vacuum? And why do you hold it applicable when it's outside the vacuum?
The bottle, the bubble will not go up. It will fall with the water at the same rate, 9.8 meter per second square. with the bottle,
Yeah, only in a
the
vacuum,
water, and
which doesn't
everything.
exist on Earth.
The bubble is still in the water. It didn't change medium. Lost.
I don't care, man. That only happens in the
Why,
medium of a
do you
vacuum.
care
It does
about
not
the
exist
bottle? Why you
on
care
Earth.
about the bottle?
It doesn't exist on Earth, a vacuum.
You can
You
try it
kidding
on
me?
air also. It does work on air also. Throw a bottle with bubbles in it up in the air while the
No,
water
it
is in
doesn't.
the air.
No, the
While
bubbles
it's
go every which way with the
in,
air, the gas. They
bubbles
don't
in water
fall.
go up.
Some
It
might even
swear
go up,
bubbles
depending
go
on
in
if
every
they hit a
direction.
little
What are you
whirlwind.
talking about? You take a soda water.
I'm saying what
Bubble
you do
goes
in a
up,
vacuum
James.
is absolutely irrelevant to
Bubbles,
what happens
James.
outside the vacuum.
James,
Irrelevant.
bubbles go up in the water.
Yes.
Thank you. So take those same bubbles that go up in the bottle, throw the bottle up in the air. Since the bottle
Yeah,
leaves
but
your
you want to
hand,
exclude the bubbles that go up in water. Hold on. You want to exclude that, right? And you
I don't
find
want to
one, you
exclude
find a
what?
medium. Hold on, listen to me. You find a medium where things fall down at the same rate and you choose that one, right? But you exclude the medium where the bubble goes up. There's no gravity there, huh?
I don't.
Things ain't falling at
I
9.8
don't.
meters per second, huh?
James, do you listen to what I tell you? Bubbles go
Yeah,
up in the
it's
water. So
simple.
you take this bottle and you throw it up in the air. Since the moment it leaves your hand and until it hits the ground, bubbles fall with the water at the same rate. They don't move up. They fall at the same rate as the water. They don't go up anymore.
What?
No vacuum.
I've never seen bubbles not go up in water.
Well, you never watched a bottle with bubbles thrown up in the air.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. Air, water, all of that can be seen, you know. I mean, the vacuum has to be created.
Take a GoPro.
The vacuum has to be
Get
created.
into a bottle which have bubbles in it that goes up, throw it up in the air, and see what happened in the duration that the bottle
Hey,
is in
Tyke,
the air.
hey, did anybody see my video where they showed the fish tank?
Yeah, change it.
It's got a fish tank, and they start shaking it. You shake the water at a certain frequency, and it turns upside down like you can lower a boat, like you got a little play boat, and it's floating bottom side up. The water is suspended in midair, like about 8 inches off the bottom of the aquarium, off the tank, and the boat is floating upside down. You pull the boat down toward the bottom, which is now the sky. It drops back up to the water, and you just got to vibrate it at a certain frequency. Science is.
Did you get this from the Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Yeah, I know. Same. No. You don't watch my fucking videos, do you, Jeremy?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Fired, man. I see all this shit, dude. And nobody talks about it. Like they start vibrating this aquarium, and they got a little toy boat floating upside down. They pull it up away from the water, and it drops back up toward the water, just from a certain frequency of vibration. Nothing to do with gravity, man.
Vibration and sound is the most very powerful force. Yes.
Vibration is a force.
Vibrations. Everything's vibrating at a certain frequency.
Yeah, and where did you measure it, Jimmy?
Measure my dick, Tyke, okay?
Too small to measure, Jeremy.
That's good.
Anyway, y'all want to see like the latest, the shit that ain't in the old physics books that they're preaching? Go to Flat Earth, go back a little ways, and watch some of these videos. I don't just talk the shit; I show it. I mean, I talk it too, but I show it. I'm not gonna just start running my mouth on something I can't demonstrate. And all this shit's demonstrable, people.
No doubt. Go fuck with Flat Earth test, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
Stop
what was
slacking.
the explanation for it, Brian?
Not gravity, Chikey. Okay?
What was the
That's the whole
explanation?
point. The whole point
Isn't
is,
there a Schumann resonance frequency or some shit that Earth has? Is the Earth vibrating at a certain frequency or something? What's the Schumann resonance or something? You guys know what I'm talking about?
yeah, I've heard that too. But this is something you could do. So you could do it in your garage, man. If you just like maybe take a hacksaw, a battery powered hacksaw, and take the blade off and tape it to like a little aquarium, like not too thick, just like a couple inches thick, like a little. Hey, remember that game, Jeremy, where you used to push the button and the water pressure blew the rings up? And
Brian, this is
on the little...
this is how they say the guy built Coral Castle with this vibrational frequency. Also, have you ever seen the one where they put a little sand on a speaker, on a plate on a speaker, and depending on the frequency they play? Yeah.
Yeah. This is like that. But this is just something them just flat out shaking the shit like with a paint shaker at a little bastard. I mean, you can see the motherfucker shaking. It's not like an unheard of frequency like that. It just they get it at a certain frequency and the shit they flip it over and it's like halfway and shit. And the boat that was sunk is now floating and everything's reversed. It ain't just the water; it's the air below the water. It's weird, dude. But I showed a demonstration of it, man. But you could take what I want to say what do you call it? A sawzall, and tape something to it real good. Mount it real good and squeeze the trigger, and that might be a fast enough frequency, but you'd probably have to use something pretty small at that frequency. But there'd be ways to do it, man. In the garage, I might try it.
This is very calm for Friday night fights night. Are we on the air or?
Yeah, it's time to really.
You guys kick all your asses.
There we go.
Man.
That would
Hang
be
on, I'll finish my
cool,
brekkie and I'll
like
come in. Give
backyard
me a minute.
brawls, Glovers and flat earthers.
Huh? What'd you say?
Set up a little octagon cage.
It's important for the globalists to realize that they're not going anywhere. They will live on the flat and stationary Earth their whole life. There's no spaceship waiting for them to blast them off to Orion's belt to make out with some green alien chick.
They're not going to bang an alien film. William Shatner gassed you up. You ain't banging no green alien bitches.
It's only on their television.
Especially bitches with 3 titties, bro. You only get to fuck bitches
total
with 2
recall
titties.
shit. That's that total recall shit.
The 3 titties?
Yeah, everyone knows.
Yeah, Glow was probably expecting to fuck bitches with three titties over there in Mars.
Suck one, hold 2.
Hey, man, it shows the power of the mind. Like, and you could believe anything is real just because that's how you was raised. But it's like to these people, once you see the trickery and shit, once you see the bullshit, man, wake up. Like I understand we just all was doopty-doo, walking, living our lives and shit. But once you see the fakery, the exposure, the tricks that they're pulling on us, then get suspicious at least. Shit.
I don't think it's a situation that they don't see it. I think they see it. I just don't think they're willing to accept it because they're not willing to accept them implications.
I'll tell you what the problem is. These people think that they're too smart to be tricked.
It's also tied to an agenda. They have an atheist agenda, and they think the heliocentric, model offers nihilism. That Bill Nye gave the "I suck" speech, where he says it doesn't matter. The universe is so large, life is worthless. There's so much stuff out there. Who cares?
That's actually my worldview too, but. You got to figure if a creator made this, he ain't gonna make just one. Why would you just make? Why would you make just one of these things? If I was a person or an entity that was capable of making something like this realm, I'd make a lot of them. It'd be fun.
Entertainment. I think he gave us the meaning of the earth because I think dogs can't make like cell phones. They can't bungee jump. They can't make stupid shit. We're the only ones that can make stupid shit, so we're entertaining to him.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some rhyme or reason for them to create us, either to exploit us for the things we create, or for entertainment value, or something. You don't make something.
It's a complicated program that will never be replicated. not
Yeah.
even halfway. The more they learn, the more they realize how much
I
they
think we're
don't
some
know.
sort of resource. You heard, Jeremy? I think that's our main objective, being some sort of resource.
This could be some kind of Westworld environment, or they could just be studying us. We run simulations all the time.
Yep.
And petri dishes and computer systems.
You know what I think that might be going on? Maybe we are producing something like, our factories and shit. Maybe we're producing something and like shipping it off to them, and we don't even know it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Hey, George, your mic keeps lighting up. By the way.
Maybe we're getting rid of something, man. Like maybe we're like I used to think this. I used to think that we cut down all the trees that make the oxygen. We breathe the oxygen and replace it with bullshit. And it's like everything we do is oxygen. It seems like, man.
Maybe we made a choice.
If you're on a planet, you're limited, huh?
Maybe this thing is a video game, some sort of realistic video game, and we made a choice. We made a choice to enter the game, right? Maybe all of it is our choice.
What's
Yeah.
funny
What if you
about
die and
space,
there's
when
what if you
Globers-
die
when
and there's
Globers
three
think of
buttons
space,
and
guys,
what if you
they
die
think
and
of
there's three
space,
buttons?
right? Globers.
Go ahead, James. Go ahead.
And
My
when
bad.
they think, and when they
James, can you
when
hear
they
what
think
other
of
people are
space,
talking?
Yeah, I want to hear the three buttons.
I think we started at the same time.
All
But
right,
when
go
they
ahead.
think, when Globers think of
I guess.
space, it's funny how they all have their different imagination. Aliens. There's your witchcraft. Nobody thinks of space, even when I used to believe it, the same.
It's a spell. Even when you get on a weather
It's
balloon
just a
and you stand up
fantasy.
there, it's just
It's
pitch black
in
and
the
nothing.
imagination.
I agree
Literally
with
in the
you, dude.
imagination.
Yeah, because look,
All
we
right.
show them amateur weather balloon footage. When you get up there, it's just pitch black. There ain't no star. There ain't nothing up there. It's just a black void, dude. And then they try to say, well, there's this and that, and then we show astronauts contradicting themselves, and it's like, dude, they're just hypnotized. There's nothing up there, man. Period.
All right, the three buttons. You die and there's three buttons. I got this right off of TikTok. One of the buttons says start over. Another button says next level. And there's a third button that says spectate. Which one are you hitting?
Next level.
Next level?
Wait,
Always
what was
about
the choices
leveling up.
again? You broke up for me.
Three buttons, bro. Spectate, next level, or restart.
Spectate.
You want in spectate mode? That'd be fun.
Yeah, why not?
You're gonna be
I wanna
spending a
see
lot of your time watching in the showers.
watching my great grandbabies, man, and shit.
Oh, or
Yeah,
that.
here's a joke, man. This is a quick joke, y'all. So these how do I do this without offending somebody? This is worldwide. So a man, a woman, and a goofball, okay, are all about to see, how far they can make it across the English Channel, and the woman starts going. She gets a little ways. She gets tired. She turns around she makes it about a third of the way, a quarter of the way, and the man's like, "Oh man, I got this, man." The man, the man, and an astronaut's the third person. The man gets in and he starts swimming, man. He starts getting tired. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta make it. I gotta make it." He gets about a third of the way. He's like, "Damn!" He turns around, man. The astronaut says, "I got this." He gets in, got his suit on and shit, starts swimming. He starts getting tired a quarter of the way, man. And he starts getting more and more tired a third of the way. And he's like, "God, I gotta go. I gotta make it." And he gets halfway. And he's like, "Oh, there's no way I can make it." And he fucking
He turns
that's the
around.
fucking equivalent, guys.
Your mic dropped out just when you got to the
You clip,
punchline.
did he turn around when he got
That's the
halfway?
equivalent. That's the equivalent of them saying why they did.
Or your mic cut out. Did he turn
That's
around
the
when he got
equivalent.
halfway?
Yeah. But halfway he turned around, and the punchline is that's what they said when they made it to the South Pole, that they were trying to cross on the same horizontal. Their excuse was the weather got too bad. They turned around. They made it to the South Pole, and the weather got too bad. They made it halfway and fucking turned around. That's the joke, y'all. It's the fucking
Oh, for the
Moloch
last
joke, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't turn around halfway. If you're already fucking halfway, what does it matter which way you finish
Yeah.
Get yourself a better mic, Brian, please.
Seriously, can we take up a GoFundMe or something?
Yeah, I will donate to a GoFundMe for Brian's
I
microphone.
got $20 on Brian's AirPods.
Yeah.
I'll donate
What
it
kind of,
to
how you say AirPods? I tried AirPods, man, but maybe they were the wrong ones.
You got to get the real
AirPods,
ones,
I'll try
Brian.
that, man.
Yeah.
Yo.
Not the ones made in China, bro. Not those.
No,
Get
no,
the
no, no,
original
no.
ones.
Stop. You got to get the ones, the old. Don't get the pros. Get the regular, old school ones that not the pros, the other kind, the other AirPods. There's two kinds of AirPods.
I'll try this, man. I'll try this.
Not
'cause
gonna
I-
get the pros. Get some double-sided sticky tape, because them other motherfuckers that are not the pros constantly fall down.
I usually
No, mine
sound
never
just like this,
fall.
but then they tell me I echo sometimes, man. But I usually
I
sound good
never
like
fall.
this.
You're echoing terribly, Brian.
Yep. I got $10 for Jeremy's new connection.
Am I laggy?
Start a GoFundMe, Brian.
I got one tooth.
Yo, Crit got a tooth on it.
One.
That'll pay for the whole shit. What are you getting? 200 a tooth?
200 per tooth, yeah.
There you go. Brian, Crit's got you one tooth, bro.
Did I tell y'all the thing that you say backwards, like you spell it backwards, man? I heard them doing it like on Jaredism and everything, and they were saying like race car spelled backwards is race car, and then like mom is mom, dad is dad, and I was trying to tell them one of it is a man, a plan, a canal, Panama. That's the biggest one, man. A man,
Nice one.
a plan, a canal, Panama. What the fuck is the odds of that?
That's fantastic.
That's profound, yeah.
We have a lot of those in Finnish language.
No, man, I get you a little. Did I get you a little hot earlier? In
No,
gems?
not hot.
Yeah, you
Not
were
hot.
spiraling, bro. You guys were spiraling all day over there. I was killing you guys.
Oh, you were just you had a fallacy going on, so.
No, what fallacy?
Oh,
Name
what
it.
is this? A formal debate?
I mean, we can just go with the definition of Earth, and that's a planet, and it's not begging the question if gas pressure isn't, so we're good.
Well, I mean, if the sky was a vacuum, the gas would fill the space.
But it is, because we can measure it. It's low pressure.
So you're saying gas doesn't fill volumes?
That's what we see.
That's natural laws.
The only thing there is a temperature gradient, guy.
But are you seeing it or measuring it? Which one is it?
Measuring, yeah, just measuring, yeah, not seeing, because you can't see gas, but yeah, measuring it.
And how are we doing this measuring?
You can use a barometer or a pitot tube or
a bag of potato chips.
Hey, mic
So
check.
I found out, man.
Hey, can you guys hear me better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out how to
Hey,
store the
so-
hydrogen, man. That I make, man. Y'all know how you could use electrolysis to get the hydrogen and oxygen, but you can get the hydrogen just chemically with the muriatic acid, the shit we clean driveways and shit with, and aluminum. And I was like, how can I collect it though, man? But I found a way. I got these old propane tanks, and I took the nozzle. I took the nozzle off the propane tank, and I put the aluminum down in there, and then it's just sitting there. And then when I'm ready to get the hydrogen, I pour the muriatic, or you could use sodium hydroxide, that lye, or caustic powder, whatever you want to call it, and then and then you just hurry up and screw the top back on, and then it pressurizes. It only gets so much pressure though, and I got these the thin. I got the Mylar weather blues. They're only like $3 for like a 5x8 Mylar emergency blanket, and I got the spray adhesive, man. So I got these things all tied together and shit. And I want to see, because my theory is but just like things get heavier and shit, I gotta pause for a second. Okay, there it's stop. But so my theory is that how things get like we weigh less in water, right? So the more medium, the less we weigh. So I think I could turn gravity upside down just by showing a scale, like setting up a real sensitive scale. And I got one. I got to get some batteries for it, but I got to pump these Mylar balloons up and just get a little basket with a camera. I got the cheap camera, and I got everything I need except the batteries for the scale and a mechanism. And I was thinking I could use like a baggie half full of air to like maybe push the contacts, because the scale turns on automatically when the battery makes contact. So maybe use like a half baggie full of air or something. So when it inflates from the from the lack of temperature that it'll make contact. And I think that up there in thinner air, things weigh more. And I think that would knock gravity on its ass.
Okay.
Has anybody got a better mechanism for turning the scale on at like 30 minutes after launching the thing, or hour after launching it?
What are you trying to do?
Well, I got to turn on I'm gonna have a camera filming it, right? The camera will last a couple hours. I just got a camera. Always gonna be filming the basket. The little project is in the basket, and so I want to turn the scale on right before I drop whatever it is on the scale. So I was gonna inflate like a freezer bag, like with just a little bit of air in it, and as it blows up from it getting cold up there, have it contact the batteries on the scale, which will automatically turn it on. Which I couldn't set an exact time on the first try, but I know that.
Yo, as we go up, hold on, Brian. I like what you're saying. As we go up, gravity's supposed to get less and less, right?
Right. And
Right, Ruhif?
I'll bet almost any. I bet almost
gravity's lower as you go up, away from the center of mass.
Yep, inverse square law.
We should do some weighing tests up there. Absolutely, send some hot air balloons up. I'd like to get a couple pictures of the moon from high up there, and then compare them to. A lot of stuff.
How are we going to keep the balloon stationary?
I got something for you guys before I log out here. Quantum Eraser is going to be debating a college professor.
Oh, Jesus.
Astrophysics and astronomy or something like that. Full arena rules, so everyone, only the two will have an open mic. It's going to happen right after ladies' night here, so pretty quick. If she shows, some people are saying that she's not.
When's that supposed to happen?
What channel?
Yeah, like pretty within the next hour, I think. At right when ladies' night is done. 24/7.
Is it a live stream?
Is it?
Yeah,
Is it a
I
live stream on
think it'll be
YouTube?
live streamed also. I'm not sure if it's gonna be live streamed on Miggy or not, but it'll probably be
On what?
live streamed on Quantum Eraser's channel too. And,
QA. All right.
yeah,
I just want to say
the topic
I'd like to-
is astrophysics science or not, or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I've lost
Can I
interest
say
already.
something for Brian? Hey, Brian, if you're up 20 miles above the surface of the Earth, the weight will only change by 1%.
Which is measurable, but I don't know how you're going to get the balloon to be stationary though, right?
Yeah. Well, if you had 250 gram weight, it would change by 2.5 grams.
Yeah, but the balloon will be accelerating upwards. So you got to get to where it's neutrally buoyant.
Yeah, you have to reach its ceiling.
Yeah. And not have it pop, I guess. Yeah.
I'm
Like
saying,
theoretically
yeah,
doable, but practically very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the value of gravity or weights don't change that fast within the first 20 miles. It's 1/r².
One more thing that's just out of reach.
What?
It's like the 8 inches per mile.
Oh yeah.
Because you're changing.
Why don't
You're
you
going
weigh
from
with
39.59 miles to 39.59 plus 20 miles. The ratio of that squared gives you 1%.
Which is measurable.
If I could show things get heavy, I mean, that's like we've demonstrated everything else, dude. You'll have some kind of crazy excuse. If I could demonstrate things get heavier up there, even if it's a little bit, it ain't got to be a lot. It's just got to be a little bit. What are you going to do, man? Are you going to start taking us serious, man?
Well, it's not going to happen.
I'll tell you what,
No worries.
Ranty came up
That's
with a
what you
good.
said with the laser.
Ranty came up with a really good idea before. Hold on, Ranty came up with a good idea. If we're gonna send a hot air balloon up, we got to take a picture of the moon with a camera, and then with the same camera, send it up to get a picture of the moon up high. And if the angular size gets, we'll be able to tell if something weird happens with the angular size of the moon.
Sure.
Yeah, the moon
But
gets
sure,
tiny.
why can't you do that on
It
Earth?
gets real small at altitude. They've shown that, haven't they?
You can do
But
it.
why
on
can't
Earth.
you
You're
do
gonna
that on
You're
Earth?
gonna take a picture on Earth, and then you're gonna, with the same camera, same settings.
Yeah.
You're gonna send that camera up real high and take another picture. And we're gonna see what the fucking deal is.
Yeah, that's fine. But why can't you do the same thing on Earth?
We're
You have
gonna
two
do it
observers a
under-
long way
one of-
away.
One of the pictures is going to be on Earth, and the other one's going to be way up high.
I'm completely fine with that. That would be great.
Yeah.
But why can't you already do it on Earth?
We can, but we want to see if there's any change above when you're above the atmosphere.
So,
yeah.
so you've got two observers a long way away from each other.
Over Australia, guys.
Uh-huh.
Go fast
He doesn't
rocket
get
launched
it. He doesn't
in the
get it.
Nevada desert in the morning and showed the moon over Australia, man.
Yeah, you've already got, if you've got two observers on the Earth a long way away, right, there should be an angular size change there as well, right?
No, it's like you don't understand what I...
No, why not? Are they not vastly different distances away from the moon?
So we're trying to see what impact the atmosphere has on the size of the moon. So we need to go above the atmosphere.
So nothing, all right.
Nothing what?
It's not going to...
Why is it no good? What's wrong with
The
it?
atmosphere. My argument is the atmosphere is doing it. We demonstrated it. So I don't believe nothing you see. So we got to show you some more shit.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with what we're doing?
No, I've told you, nothing's wrong with it. Do it. I love it.
Oh,
Are you in or are you in, Ruif?
I support you completely doing it. Absolutely.
All right, we have your full emotional support on this.
You know what they said, guys? They said, you know what, Isla Man? They said, get down on the beach and show the shore across Isla Man. Then they said, yeah, you know what? Take a laser and shine it 10 miles across the lake. Then they said, dude, they just say all this shit. We show it to them, and then here comes.
What are you
and
doing?
They just start pouring.
Not you, Brian. My bad. I was hot mic.
Yeah, I know, I heard somebody, but I was cutting out.
Yeah, bad timing.
They're like, show me a pressure gradient inside.
Show your pressure gradient where?
Pressure gradient inside containment. I show that, and then they just blow right past it like it never even happened. Just sitting there on video, showing a pressure gradient within 60 feet of each other. And
Show a pressure gradient without a container?
No, I showed a pressure gradient inside a container. Y'all keep saying just walk outside.
Okay.
There's the pressure gradient. No, it's easy to make a pressure gradient inside containment. You can't make pressure. You can't have a vacuum without a container. You can't have pressure without a container.
You can't have a
can have all
pressure
that
gradient.
shit with
without a
containment.
container.
You can't have a
The point is,
pressure
you can have all that
gradient.
with a container.
You can't have a pressure gradient without a container. I told
The
Nate,
atmosphere. The atmosphere is
I
not
told them
contained.
guys to change the housekeeping questions to that because we keep getting
You don't
straw
know
man,
that.
and we might as well. What do you mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
that. Let's see it.
but a
Jeremy,
pressure gradient is
I've got a question for both Jeremy and Brian. Give me an example. Give me a hypothetical example of something, anything that is not contained according to your worldview. I'm giving the atmosphere as an example of not being contained.
Yeah.
So you give me an example of something, that I could use to demonstrate gas pressure or a gradient without a container.
Bro, when you look at the amateur high balloon footage, it's either there's either something up there or it's just black as all get up and there's nothing. Period. When you go out further, because if you look at the amateur weather balloon footage, dude, it's insane, dude. It's
You guys keep asking. You guys keep asking for an example.
There's a container up there, Ruben. It might be a couple thousand miles, but it's up there, bud.
Yeah, whatever. You guys keep
like you
asking
want
for an
to
example
ignore.
of gas pressure without a container. Please provide any example of something that is not a container. I give the atmosphere is not contained.
You want to ignore. You want to ignore gas pressure gradient. That's what you want to ignore.
No,
because
I'm
a gradient.
very much on
hold
board
on,
with
hold
gas
on.
pressure gradients.
Hold on, because a gas pressure gradient is a delta of gas pressure. You must first have the pressure. For an example,
we have pressure.
You have an air compressor. You put a heat source under it. Well, now within the container, you will have a gradient of gas pressure. But you wouldn't without the container or the pressure, which requires a container. To begin
Hang on,
with, you
I'll
would
take-
never
hang
even
on,
achieve
hang on,
a
hang on.
gas pressure. It's a delta of gas pressure.
Yeah, y'all have an infinite vacuum, bro. If somebody's talking, I can't hear them.
No.
They have an infinite vacuum. They have an infinite vacuum with a tiny little dot of gas. Retarded. All you gotta do is put some common sense. Retarded. Infinite vacuum, stronger than anything we can make on Earth. stronger than the 8 thick concrete steel reinforced walls and half of the vacuum that's infinite. And we got this one little dot that it has gas attracting gas. It's fucking retarded on its face, people.
All right, guys. Well, it seems to be kind of wrapping down here. So let's wrap it up. Oh, I'm a fucking horrible announcer. Does anybody want to do final thoughts?
You're all right, man. Come on, dude. Put some confidence.
Yeah, I'll be in a crypto room. All right. If anyone wants to get in the crypto room or go to a VC session in the crypto room, DM me or come fuck with me. Peace.
Sweet. That is a good place to go if you like money, by the way, for everybody out there.
It's just a fraud, money. It's all a fraud.
Well, you know, yeah.
Literally a monopoly.
I like money.
I made my
like
year's
money.
salary last week, so
There you go.
I
Monopolies
don't make
work
a lot
when
of
you
money,
actually
but
invest
still.
in them.
What's up?
I like money.
Monopolies work when you invest in them. They actually work. Just because you call it a monopoly doesn't disqualify them as a viable option.
True. It's
Well, it's a
the problem we
monopoly.
get
It's a
into is
fraud.
when there's some problems that come into monopoly, but I won't bore you.
That should be a hint. There's no space shuttle for a piece, is there?
So you take you look at the currency, right? That's a monopoly. Like literally the monopoly game. You got the different colored money, right?
Yeah.
It's a monopoly. Whoever's printing that money, you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
stand a chance again.
Right. Exactly. But anyway, so anybody else want to say anything else? Final thoughts? I won't go through all 25 of us, but anybody who wants to speak up, go for it.
I'm a huge fan of David Weiss.
Got a David Weiss fan noted.
That's cool. David Weiss is cool.
David Weiss, cool.
Shouts out to the subsolar point. Come on, people. I need people in the tropics. Let's go.
That's a cool ass Jew right there.
I'm still wondering what the flash
All right.
is on these total eclipses.
Yes, we gotta look
brightness. I
into
don't know what that
eclipses more. I agree with you 100%. Remember all those weird ass fucking circles? The total eclipse? And they blamed it on like the way this light was coming through the trees, which may be true, but it was so weird because there were some photos, I can't remember who was showing it, of the total eclipse when it happened, and it looked like there was like billions of little circles. Does anybody remember seeing that?
No, not that.
Digital artifacts.
Sorry, I'm eating.
I saw that.
They demonstrated that with a
couple
local light
years-
source, man. Hey, they showed it on the dock and a couple other places. It wasn't just with the trees, Brandon. They demonstrated that. I got to look that up, man.
I gotta go back and look at that. Data, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, so I was witness to that last eclipse where it took the trees and the shadows everywhere on the ground with this completely visual, stunning, sort of confusing illuminate. Like it was crazy what the light was doing to the shadows everywhere. And I'd never seen anything like that ever. And the way the moon entered in and left, I'd never seen anything like that either. So, because you couldn't see it, even if you had a welding mask on. All of a sudden, it just appeared to cross, appeared to leave, and it was nowhere in the sky. So it was just amazing.
There's some high strangeness going on with eclipses, because do you remember how all these people, like the celebrities and all the elite, were acting when the eclipse was coming? Like they were out of their mind, like it was some kind of religious experience. It was weird.
So, do you guys remember, like maybe 9 years ago, they had the big booms everywhere? You know, you heard reports of big booms in different cities all over the world. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So some of it was hoaxed, right? Some of it was like, tractor graders putting it on the concrete and driving it across, right? So guys would be filming it and be like, and the news would pick it up, right? But I personally experienced one big boom where it shook the whole neighborhood, and we woke up to it, and it was right around the time the things, 8-9 years ago, right? Like the theory is that it sounded like trumpets. I don't know if you guys remember that, but in Fort McMurray in Alberta, guys were filming this stuff thinking it sounded like trumpets in the distance, right? It's just funny how the boom shook houses all around the world as well, because there was people. I personally experienced it when I called the RCMP here in Canada. They had no explanation for it except one explanation was that they were a farmer was launching off buckshot, so to speak, to scare off birds, right?
Bro, get the fuck out of here, bro. It shook fucking houses, and that's the that they went with.
Yeah, so we woke up to it, and our house was rumbling for probably at least 5 seconds after we got up, 3 to 5 seconds, let's say. Like, and I just find it kind of interesting how the Concorde and flight travel is sort of returning. I think they're trying to introduce it again, right? But they're flying it all over to see
Bro,
what
my house rumbles. That happens here a lot, dude. That happens here a lot. I can never pinpoint where it comes from because as soon as I get outside, it stops. There's a deep rumbling here. Probably about once a month, maybe once every couple months. And I'm pretty close to the space. I'm pretty close to the Cape, but not that close, like 100 miles.
Does it follow with a big boom? Wakes you up in your whole house?
I haven't heard a boom. I heard a boom one time, but it turned out to be a transformer up by the grocery store.
No, this is
deep rumbling. I'm talking about house shaking rumbling shit though, man. A lot, dude. It sounded like that cloud machine shit that I've seen on one of the channels, but I can't prove that.
No. I just kind of. It's funny how the Concorde they're bringing it back, right? That kind of travel, and as you see guys on the news or what you call YouTubers trying to bring the hoax alive, right? By doing things like that, when it could be directly related to, the supersonic flight travel returning. And so they're trying it out, right? But they don't tell you that. I know they were talking about bringing the Concorde back last year and even this year, but nobody's reporting the trumpet sounds anymore.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about eclipses. I'm playing a video on screen, but we'll have to talk about that one of these nights. Anyway, all right, thanks guys. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. I'll be back. I'll record after show, but thank you everybody. Okay, thanks everybody out there. You guys have a good weekend and enjoy the warm weather. At least I will be enjoying the warm weather for sure. And we'll see you on Monday. Bye.